Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4playernetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy.
Are you gonna get Gears of War 5, Chris Davis?
I don't know. I played through 4 and I don't want to play it again.
I keep thinking that maybe this is the next game will be the one that I like. And then I tried Gears of War 4 and I was like, everything about this game is competent.
Yeah, no, I mean,
but,
it's like, it's so...
Something
like,
about it is just not grabbing me.
I'm so glad you just kind of don't care. But, like, what's even more refreshing is Chris Davis kind of doesn't care. It's sort of making me realize, like, who is Gears of War 4 anymore?
I mean...
No, Gears of War 5, right?
Gears of War.
The moment you said that, I was like, no one's about to make a dad joke again.
Like, Gears 3 was a fitting conclusion to that series. I was satisfied with it. I didn't need to play Gears 4.
What about Judgment?
I played a little bit of Judgment.
That was People Can Fly, right?
Gears of War was once huge, you know?
Yeah, it was.
But, like, it's getting into, like, Killzone territory, like... Maybe we should just stop making
Killzone
these.
didn't even have that many.
No, you're right. But I'm saying where it is now.
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
It's like they're making them just to make them, and I don't know if people actually want it. Like when they made Killzone Shadowfall.
I can't see what's going on down there, but I would imagine that Kato is dragging his large tongue across Butter's face.
A little bit.
Gears 4 sets up an interesting potential for a storyline for a trilogy. But
I feel like
whether they're actually going to try and
you know what I think it would take for me to be interested in Gears?
Podcast?
No, we haven't.
Oh.
I mean, we're recording.
Okay.
Well, actually, we can just start.
Yeah.
Are we ready?
Let's do it.
Noel, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Is it okay if I jump straight into some Gears talk?
Yeah, fucking do it.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
E3's coming up, man.
E3 bitch. E3 bitch.
You know what? Let's put a kibosh on the Gears talk.
Oh, well, I was just going to say I think the only thing what it would take to get me interested in Gears is if they went like full like horror with it.
I mean,
You said that about the last one.
I mean, if you want to go back to like the original design of Gears of War,
Yeah,
that'd be very interesting.
which would be fucking cool. And somewhere along the line, they decided to
Turned
not
into
go
an
that
action
That's the
direction.
only thing that would get you interested
And the
in
reason
Gears.
why
I
it
feel
turned
like-
into
I
action
think the only thing
was
that would
because
get
they
people
added the
interested in
chainsaw.
this podcast would be if we stopped talking about Gears of War.
You know what? You might be right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 602. It is May 21st, 2019. My name is Nick Henderson, and I am joined this evening by Brad Simons,
Yo.
Nolan Hedstrom,
How's it going, everybody?
and Christopher Davis.
Hello.
I just realized we forgot to do 5 seconds of silence, so don't even forget to do that during the break.
We could just think of someone who died recently and do it now, like, organically.
Actually,
Crispy.
I know of someone who died, but I don't think y'all care, so I don't really want
Oh, well, someone on your personal one?
No, it was Slipknot, right?
the
I
daughter
heard
of-
about
I
that.
saw
The
your
daughter
tweet.
of one of the percussionists died.
What,
That's sad.
man?
Moment of silence.
See?
That is perfect.
Completely organic.
That was great. I like how
I
I like
had
how
to
Nolan's over here holding Kato's mouth shut.
Yeah.
He breathes so loud.
I will say, I've never really heard any Slipknot, and, you know, I'm glad that you
No,
love this band.
that's fair.
But I saw a tweet and you were excited about the new album, and that's fine.
Oh,
it's
God,
a new album. Of course you'd be excited about a new album,
Yeah.
but you were, like, stoked about the new masks, and I
Yeah.
kind of chuckled. Is that like a thing? They're
Yeah,
like
they do
when
new-
they reveal the new masks, like everyone loses their shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah,
that was a
that's-
clown.
They do. Well, they're always.
I didn't even know they wore masks.
They always do new masks with every.
up.
I don't follow these things.
They always do new masks with every new album.
Okay.
So it's always part of the excitement.
Like, has
what's the new
Kiss
mask
ever
gonna look
changed
like?
their makeup?
Well, I'm
Probably.
sure they changed
Yeah,
it
I'm
like
sure they
every
did,
show.
right?
Can't wear that
Okay,
all the time.
okay,
I'm
Nolan.
sure they did.
It's very clever. You're very funny.
Anyways, that was very organic. Good idea,
Tattoo
Brad.
that shit on.
Anyways, welcome to the show, everybody. We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. We got some new games, right? We got from Rage 2. We got some Druidstone. Be good. We got a lot of juicy news to talk about. So there'll be plenty to talk about there. We're gonna talk about George R. R. Martin, but maybe not in the respects that you're that you're thinking.
We're going to talk about his health and life expectancy.
I feel like that's 1 in 3 conversations about George R. R.
Oh
Martin.
my god, dude!
Probably.
I'm gonna be honest.
Probably
so-
pretty depressing. He probably like stares at himself in the mirror every morning, knowing that anyone only ever talks about how long he's going to live.
dude. Well, you know, I was reading one of the articles that was about the news topic we are going to talk about in respect to George R. R. Martin, and in that article, it talked about all the projects that he is "quote unquote" a producer or a collaborator on, and it's like all 3 of the Game of Thrones spinoffs, the game that he's apparently collaborating with From Software, which we'll talk about in the second segment,
Spoilers.
plus like 4 or 5 other TV shows for various different networks.
Wow.
And I was just like, what? Okay, I'm starting to get really worried.
What if his dream, like his calling, is not actually being a writer? He's just pretty good at it. What he actually wants to do in life is be a producer on things. You know?
Well, now he got his chance for
Then
it.
he
there
is
you
living
go.
his best life right
Yeah,
now.
there you go.
His
Anyways.
best, potentially rather short life.
We'll talk about that more in the second segment. So before we do that, there's a couple things I would like to talk about. One of which being, of course, I like to mention we have a Discord. If you're not a member of our Discord yet, please check it out. It's discord.gg/4player. We're all hanging out in there all the time, talking about sweet video games and dabbing and stuff like that.
Well, we don't really
Which
talk
Chris
about
Davis
dabbing.
still hasn't done yet.
It's never gonna happen.
So yeah, if you want to join, you can find us at discord.gg/4player. I also want to let you know that we're coming up on the end of the first Revival Club. I'm still playing my way through Devil May Cry 3 right now, but we're going to switch it up in June, and we have a new poll up. If you're a supporter on Patreon or Twitch, there should be a link in the supporter or in the nominations channel in Discord or on the Patreon wall where you can vote in the next poll. And the 4 games are Suikoden 2, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, Dark Cloud 2, and Vanquish. So if you are interested in playing some of those or one of those for
There's at least 2 good
June and
games
July,
on that list.
there's at least 2. I think there's probably 4 good ones in
none
there.
of
It's a
those-
pretty good list.
None of those games were Splinter Cell Chaos Theory.
No, that's not what people
very
voted
sad.
for. I mean, I put it on the list, and not enough people voted for it. But anyways, that's the fun of this. We'll pick a new game every 2 months. So if you're interested in playing one of those games along with the community, be sure to go in there and vote for it. If you want to support us on Patreon, it's patreon.com/4player. It sounds like next week instead of the podcast will be because we're trying to do a non-podcast night every month, right?
A fun cast.
A fun cast, if you will. We'll be doing something next week. I think we're talking about possibly doing a board game night, which Brad wasn't here for when we mentioned that as a possibility. How does that sound to you, Brad? All right.
Board game nights.
Thank you, Brad.
Slip that nip.
We will talk about more. We'll talk about that and kind of come to a decision about it. But the point is, next Tuesday night we'll be doing something other than a podcast. So either a board game night or playing a game on the feed with the community, whatever it is. So join us for that. And I feel like there's something else I was forgetting. I wanted to mention this. I didn't have a supporter spotlight this month because I've talked about possibly doing something a little bit different, and it's not ready for tonight, but I'm going to try and get it up today or tomorrow so we can have it ready for the next podcast. But because essentially with the current way it was set up, it was kind of like one person gets picked for the supporter spotlight, and then that means everyone knows that it's going to be at least a month before they can potentially be picked. So we're just going to kind of post the questions out there for supporters on Patreon and just ask you to answer them, and we'll pick a random one every week and just say, this person's, this is their top 5 games of all time, or this is a game that they recommend, and we'll just kind of comment on it, and the next week we'll pick a different one. So it'll give everybody a lot more opportunities.
We haven't quite found the niche we used to have with Chatter of the Week.
Yeah.
I think that was a good kind of thing just because we had a huge backlog.
Yeah, it was
of potential stuff to pull from, and it took us a while before we even started getting low on them.
Yeah.
And I think we're trying to get to somewhere like that again,
Yeah.
where we can actually start
Absolutely.
yeah.
So
ensuring that we're able to every night talk about some people.
Yeah.
And never kind of be like, oh, well, we don't have anybody this night because, I emailed one person 3 weeks ago and they still haven't responded.
Yeah,
But I didn't
exactly.
want to skip them.
So what I'm going to do is put a handful of questions. I think I have like 4 or 5 questions from the question that we normally send to the supporter spotlight. And I'm just going to say, hey, if you're a supporter on Patreon, go answer this. Post your personal answers. Let us know who you are, where you're from, and all that stuff. And then we'll pick one at random every week and just talk about it. Should be fun. So I'll get that up tomorrow or tonight or tomorrow, and we'll pick one for the next show, which again is in 2 weeks because next week is a fun cast. And with that said, don't forget E3 is fucking like 20 days away. 20 days from now.
It's not many days.
Is your hype boner getting up there?
Yeah. It is
Hype boner?
kind of, yeah, for certain things that may or
Because
may
you've been
not
a
be
Debbie
there.
Downer for like the past 4 months.
You're damn right. I was
Hype
also a
boner's
Debbie
getting all
Downer.
the way up to 4.
I was
I'm sorry.
I was also a Debbie Downer because did everyone see the show floor map?
I have not seen it.
Yeah.
no.
What the fuck? The show floor is like so small by
It is.
comparison. But Microsoft decided to move it again across the street. So we have to walk across the street to go see Microsoft. I didn't even bother doing it last year. I didn't even go to Microsoft because it was so far out of the
It's
way.
funny because
Could have played Ori.
both my
know.
at work, my team lead and my manager are gamers, and
Yeah.
so they know. And I'm taking some time off the week of E3, and they're both like, going to E3," and I'm like, actually, no, it's something else. It just sucks that it happens to be the same week as E3.
lining up.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna make a point to go to Microsoft this year because obviously Sony won't be there, so I'm not skipping Microsoft too. So
Yeah.
but we already have a few appointments set up, which is cool.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Maybe some potentially big stuff, or because when they send us emails, sometimes they say, unannounced title. And
unannounced
you're just like,
title.
ooh, what could that be?
Key publisher title.
Yeah, and that's a gamble. That's like a dice roll. You never know what you make the appointment with eagerness in your eyes, like yes, this is, and then you finally find out what it is. You're like, maybe we shouldn't keep that
what
appointment.
is this, Game of Thrones?
What?
Why do we have like fucking trash in the shot? Why do we have like Starbucks cups and,
Oh,
and
that's
water
good.
bottles?
Wow.
What is this, bread?
You know what's funny?
It is like
I feel because there was the whole thing about during the finale of Game of Thrones, someone spotted the water bottle too, right? And I was like, it's too bad the show's over because I feel like going forward they should have just made it a joke and like
hidden water
hid them
bottles.
every
Maybe that's what
episode.
that was.
Like at one day there's like a Coke can somewhere, but like just pick a different drink and then hide it somewhere in the shot. They should lean into that for the.
They did that for the West Wing,
spin-offs.
actually.
Really? Well, that makes sense in the West.
Well, no. There was CJ Craig had the goldfish on her desk.
I've
Every
never seen the
single
West Wing. This
time-
is going to be all Brad.
Every single time the goldfish was in a shot, they always changed what was in the glass.
Even in like even if within like the same scene.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty fun.
And it was like, and each one would have like a corresponding thing to something that's going on in the episode.
You got to lean into shit like that, or people are just going to rip it apart. Anyways, we're not here to talk about Game of Thrones. Let's talk about video games, shall we? But first, it's time to read some feedback from last week's show. I did not forget this time,
Nice.
although I was really close. Again, if you want to chime in on any of the conversations we had tonight, all you have to do is go to 4playernetwork.com, leave us a comment on the post for this episode, and we'll read it and respond to it on the next show. Again, is in 2 weeks. What is Kato doing?
He's scratching himself.
I mean, yeah.
All right, so our first comment this week comes from Drew327. He says, sorry for old topics, but I was on vacation and wanted to mention a couple things. He's playing catch up. First, Kingdom Hearts 3. Oh, man, how many shows did he miss?
A while back.
I played 1 and 2, but skipped the other games. After finishing 3, it got me interested in the stories that I missed, so I watched cutscenes on YouTube for all of them. Probably over 100 hours. Whoa.
Christ.
Wait a second. Is he saying he watched over 100 hours of
Yes.
YouTube videos?
Oh.
That is how much content is in those other games.
He does say, I quote unquote, he says, I work from home. So maybe that explains it.
Yeah.
I think it was Jan from Giant Bomb who said, I used to think the non-numbered games didn't matter, and now I realize those are the ones that actually matter. I'm not saying do what I did, Nick, but I think you would like the stories.
I think there's plenty of recap videos.
Every
you can
time
watch.
I'm getting a lot of people telling me to like do this, even though like for the first time, usually I'm like, I'm going to play a series, whatever. And I lean pretty hard into it. Kingdom Hearts, I'm just like, I'm mainlining this shit.
Nick, if there are over 100 hours of cutscenes, think how much gameplay that is.
I have so many games to play. I don't have time for
Dude,
100 more
I
hours.
can
you
point you to 3 different recap videos that are like sub half an hour.
I watched a 25-minute video on was it 358 over 2 days?
Yeah.
Is that the one? I don't
Yes.
remember. And I was like, and I felt like I had already spent way too much time watching a video.
Nick, there's also Birth by Sleep and Recoded and Lost in Blue or something.
yeah.
And there's plenty of fucking
Lost
stuff-
in Blue, I don't think is a totally different
Yeah,
game.
it's very different.
There's plenty of other like side games in this series, and I honestly think you should just fucking stay the fuck away from
That's
them.
my plan. I
it's
have all
like
of them.
Peace Walker.
Dream Drop
I
Distance.
have
It's like
all of them because they're all
All
in
these
the
terrible names.
they're in the HD remix that I
Yeah.
have. So
It's like
And-
Peace Walker. How
Nick, let me tell you, I didn't play any of them. I watched a recap video, and there was not any point in this when I was playing 3 that I was like, I'm really lost. It's just more of like, oh yeah, that shit.
I did burn myself out a little bit on Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
I'm intentionally taking a little break before I go back to Kingdom Hearts 3. Anyways, he goes on to say, second, Days Gone. I have had zero interest in this game from announcement to near release, but I gameflied it when I heard people were enjoying it. I'm only about 15 hours in, so maybe I won't feel this way for 80 hours. But I am loving it. Taking out camps and stealth is giving me Far Cry 3 vibes, the way enemies patrol, especially the Freakers. Freakers, Brad.
Freakers.
Is very erratic and unpredictable. The way stealth works on humans and Freakers is two different systems. The way the huge groups of Freakers move, the day-night differences, stealthing around and getting surprised by traps, playing human enemies and Freakers off each other. I don't love Deacon as a human being, but I like that he is a well-authored character.
Oh, okay.
And his line deliveries are great. I will talk more about this on this episode because I am going to revisit Days Gone. The audio design is also really, really good. I totally agree with you on that point. And the story is driving me forward. It may not be as polished as other Sony first-party games, but I am so pleasantly surprised by what I have played so far. That is awesome. I'm glad to hear you say that. I am going to revisit many of these points on tonight's episode when I get to the point where we're going to talk about it. Sorry, this got a little long. Feel free to skip reading this, but I didn't. I just read it. So
Damn it, Nick.
Thank you for your thoughts. We appreciate you catching up. Zerby says... Oh, well, Crispy's not here tonight. But he says, Crispy, I just wanted to say that my personal favorite opening for a Star Trek series is Voyager. Somebody last week asked us about our favorite openings to TV shows or whatever.
Okay.
And on top of being, in my opinion, the most visually capturing scenes of... Or, on top of being, in my opinion, the most visually capturing scenes of space at the time... I think he's saying the best at capturing space. It also fully encompassed what Star Trek was as a whole, plus the music was spot on. It might be some bias. I did enjoy Voyager more than Deep Space Nine, though TNG... The Next Generation is my personal favorite. I can't wait for the Picard TV show. It's a shame that Crispy's not here to respond to this. Does anybody else here watch Star Trek?
Is it a shame?
So
I've seen plenty of Trek.
Damn it, Fred.
I will say that I did for a while watch some of the OG show, and then I tried to watch TNG, and I couldn't get into it.
Yeah,
it might have just been the mindset I was in at the time. But I don't know. Like I'm sure there are definitely some great episodes out there.
I don't even know I don't know the differences because I've never really watched Star Trek. I know Robin was telling me she didn't like Next Generation either.
I mean,
does that show not get a lot of love?
No, it definitely gets plenty of love.
Yeah.
It's all about. I mean, it's similar to something like think of like Doctor Who. It's like the same universe, the same concept. It's just like different people doing slightly different.
So
things.
it's just like comes down to your preference on the casts and whatnot.
Yeah,
makes sense.
I didn't really watch any Deep Space Nine, but I saw plenty of TNG and Voyager.
Yeah,
Voyager's good.
TNG's like David Tennant Star Trek, man. Like that's
correct.
That's the one everybody loves the most.
I think there's a larger population
like
that
by
likes
far.
TNG.
Oh,
yeah. Shut up, Wesley.
The real problem with TNG was the movies that they eventually put out. Like
those were
TNG the one with Patrick Stewart.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like Generations was just a bad sign of what's to come.
And Patrick Stewart is Picard, right?
Correct.
So he's coming back to play Picard again, right? That's what I hear on this TV show.
I knew they were doing something. I didn't know if he was going to.
Yeah, he's going to be on this new show.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Makes me wish I liked Star Trek more.
And they're pitching it like it's a drama.
Yeah,
not so much a traditional Star Trek format.
I mean,
so.
I like dramas.
Had some drama elements too.
Yeah, this is going to be heavier supposedly.
I used to feel embarrassed for my father watching Star Trek.
My father is a gigantic
Please
Trekkie.
explain. What do you?
I just was never into Star Trek.
I could just imagine like Brad's dad watching Star Trek and Brad like leaning in the room like just fucking nerd.
Just
that's kind of what it was like.
Like 8-year-old Brad. Like,
I'm gonna go play Suikoden. This is so nerdy.
Wow.
Now, you give my father 5 seconds of an original series episode, he could tell you which episode it was, what it was called, what happens in it,
and then quote it line for line,
which season it was in.
He can recount the entire script.
Half, probably, yeah.
Did anybody else see the? And while we're talking about television shows, anybody else see the trailer for Westworld season 3?
I saw that it existed. I saw that Aaron.
Is anybody else here
in it?
Caught up?
Dude, I stopped watching last season. It lost me hard.
Yeah, it kind of. I didn't like it as much as the first season. But the crazy thing about the season 3 of Westworld, there's like a minute and a half long trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Not a single.
And you don't know it's
Westworld. You don't know it's Westworld until you get to the very end. It says Westworld, and
maybe it's gonna be feudal Japan.
No, it's like it looks like fucking Blade Runner. Like it's not Blade Runner. That's probably extreme, but it looks like it's set in the future.
I might look into it then.
So I was like, what the fuck? How is this Westworld? Like there's not a single Western anything in the trailer, and that kind of stuff usually has me intrigued. So, anyways,
cool.
Let's get down to it. Fucking video games, why don't we talk about Rage 2 first, since it's kind of the
Okay.
big new one.
Yes, it
I know
is.
we're still fairly early. I know you and Chris Davis have both played it, but y'all
Correct.
both
He's
in the
played a little bit more than me
within
but
the
yeah,
first
but
5 or 6
I would say both
hours.
of us are still fairly early in the game.
I was going to start it, but I decided I'm not going to play 2 large open world games at once.
Probably a good idea.
And Days Gone is still going strong.
Even though
for
you
me.
did love Mad Max.
I did, and that's why I'm fully intending to give this one a shot.
It's definitely giving
Will
me
I
some
like
Mad
this?
Max vibes.
If I liked Mad Max, will I like this?
I mean, I can't say for sure just because of how early I am in the game.
Yeah.
But I would say definitely. I mean, it's one of those scenarios where a big focus is your vehicle or vehicles. You can
Is
get
there a
multiple.
vehicle combat?
Kind of.
A little bit. You do have turrets on your...
Most vehicles have some sort of weapon on them.
Yeah.
It's not always a turret. There's like missile launchers. There's lots of different things.
I saw somebody talking about it online, and they were talking about how they were kind of surprised by how little the influence of like the emphasis on car combat is in this game.
I would say
Yeah.
definitely it is more on foot gun combat is the focus. It's one of those things where your car does not have that much health.
Yeah.
And so it can quickly become damaged, and it doesn't
Yeah.
like blow up. It's just not usable until you repair it.
Yeah.
And you can't repair it while dudes are shooting at you. So generally what happens in most of the scenarios I've been in is I drive up to a place, I lay down some fire to kind of generically hit some dudes, and then I hop out and I start shooting the rest of them.
Yeah.
I might try and hit some barrels or something to get some, explosions going on. But for the most part, everything I've done so far has been on foot.
And so one thing Prince says in chat is that most of the other cars in the world just kind of drive by you and they don't stop to engage. Is that?
So far I've only encountered a few.
Yeah.
Some have driven by. One guy's like, "Hey, you want to race?" And then he just drives off.
You were supposed to follow him
I
and
know.
race him.
Well, like I wish it was more like Red Dead Redemption 2, or like he walks up and he's like, "Hey, race me, fool!" and he kind of hangs out for a few seconds. But
Oh,
this
yeah.
guy just literally doesn't stop. He just like slows a little. He's like, "You want to race?" and then just keeps going.
It sounds like that guy doesn't know how racing.
I know. So I haven't gotten too much car combat. Like I said, I only have
Yeah.
the one vehicle. I've encountered some other vehicles in the world that you can just kind of jump into, and it's like, oh, take it to your local like town and save it and whatever. But I haven't done that yet.
And I know Chris Davis played the original Rage. Did you play the original?
I have not
Rage?
played the original. I got it when I bought this game. It came with a free copy of it.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, GMG did a sale, like a pre-order sale on this, and it came with a copy of the original Rage.
Yeah.
But I just haven't had the time.
I played a little bit of, I think last year when this was first announced, just to kind of remind myself. I don't think it aged very well. Well, I
really?
mean, it wasn't super well received, I guess, when it first.
The first
It was,
half of
actually.
Rage 1 is
It
a
was?
really
Yeah.
good game.
Yeah, I mean, the Metacritic on Rage 1 is like a full 10 points higher than this one.
Oh wow.
That's interesting. And I'm
Like,
wondering.
well, there's a difference in between something aging well and something being good when it came out.
Yeah, no, but he's talking about when it came out.
I seem to remember people being kind of shocked by the quality of Rage after the
I
build
think
up.
people were shocked by what we originally saw of the game compared to what we got.
Yeah, not to mention,
I think that's what people were shocked.
that
by.
first game was finished. That you could finish that first game in like 6 hours.
Expectations were high because it was a new IP from id
Yeah.
at a time when that didn't really happen.
Yeah,
And I would honestly say that Rage 1 is more of a streamlined shooter than this.
yeah. Well, this is obviously going
There's
for
a lot more going on.
This is obviously going for this is capitalizing on the popularity of. I hate to be the first one to say it, but the
Borderlands?
Ubisoftification of open world.
No,
games,
it's definitely
right?
the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, I feel like I brought this up before. That's actually kind of been like the bane of my existence lately. There's these open world games with so much shit to do, and it completely grabs me. I am like a sucker for those.
You're like, what's that over there?
Exactly.
What's that
I
over
see
there?
the shiny and I go for it, which
Yeah.
is one of the reasons I've been playing fewer games lately.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I didn't get Days Gone because I
Yeah.
knew that's what that game was gonna be, and I was like, I can't play like 15 of those. I gotta like just 1 or 2 a year
Yeah,
because
no.
I will play them for fucking like 120 hours. Give me the chance.
The scary thing for me is that like I've just kind of come to accept that that's kind of like my jam. Like that's like probably my favorite style of game. Period. So that's why I end up digging myself too deep into these games. I probably play way more than I should. But
Well, there's a fuck ton to find in this game. That being said, it's very, very spread out.
yeah.
Like we were discussing before the show, you need your car.
And
you need
that's-
to drive around.
That's kind of like a downside. We've compared it to some other games or whatever, but I honestly do wish you could not be in your car. I wish it was like a Far Cry type of game where you could, in theory, walk from place to place, and a vehicle just makes it quicker and kind of
I mean,
changes.
technically, still in theory, you could do that.
Yeah.
It would just
It
take
would
you
be
forever.
silly too.
Yes.
Because, and a prime reason is I had mentioned it seemed like, take a game like Far Cry, where you have these little towns and outposts and villages,
Yeah.
and literally just
In a
spread
very dense
everything
area.
out. Yeah, it's very dense, and just spread it out, and that's this game. Like everything, it seems like they could move everything 40% closer to each other,
Yeah.
and it would almost be like better. I don't know, because I haven't explored the game too much. There's still plenty of this map I haven't even been to.
Yeah.
And so there's a possibility that it might get better given a little more time. But as of right now, what's up?
Sorry, I had a quick question based on the footage we're watching. He walked up to that door and he started doing this
Yes,
thing with his
that's
hand.
an arc.
That's an arc.
You use the suit that you were in. I forget what the suit's called. The
Arc
It's
suit.
a ranger suit.
Ranger. It's a
suit.
ranger suit.
Yeah.
And you have that's where your kind of powers come from this suit.
It looked
Well,
like
it
he was
comes from the nanochip.
It almost looked like he
Thank
was
you.
rewinding time, but he wasn't.
Not necessarily. It's just when you do this with your suit, it kind of activates your powers. And so those powers are the ability to see where enemies are for a brief moment, to do this kind of force push ability.
There's a significant variety of them.
Oh yeah, you start unlocking them.
Your ranger suit gives you powers?
The
Not-
like nanotrites that you interact with in the world are what give you the power, but I think the suit lets you I don't want to say harness them.
The
but-
suit is like Thanos' gun.
Would you say
So
you're
the
a
nanotrites are like
Power Ranger?
Okay.
okay, yeah. So nanotrites
No.
are like the MacGuffin of this universe, where it's like they're it's technology from before the Apophis asteroid hit Earth. And basically, they just pumped like all the Ark survivors with it and said, "We don't know what this shit's gonna do, but we're hoping that it helps you out in the future."
And that's
Good
how
luck.
it explains like all the crazy shit
Yeah,
that's
that's-
kind of been the crux of their marketing since this game started.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does it live up to the?
Irreverent humor.
You know what? After a while, once you start unlocking things, like you do feel a lot more
I
powerful.
mean, that's the one thing about this game since they first announced it and showed it that I was like, I didn't like Rage enough to really let myself get excited about the prospect of a Rage 2 even existing, but like the combat that they've kind of highlighted in a lot of their trailers has looked like really fun.
Yeah, like the Nolan in this footage, he just got the double jump ability, which you can upgrade further to where you have a double jump and like a hover for a second. So you can go even further, and you can upgrade that even further.
To the point where it's like Crackdown.
It's almost kind of
I
like
don't know if it's
Crackdown
gonna be
in a
that
way,
extent,
actually.
but pretty close.
Yeah.
Why haven't they done that in like taken crack like the agility orb? Like I can imagine, like this game I feel like would be a perfect candidate for like an agility orb system because like how much emphasis they're putting on like the crazy like agility moves and combat and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Missed opportunity.
One of his abilities that's charging up right now is his overdrive, in which you can go into this like crazy
Overdrive's
psychotic vision thing and
pretty
do a
awesome.
lot more damage.
Yeah.
You shoot faster, you move faster, you don't take damage, you do more damage. It's like just like
And you're constantly healing too.
yes, you
Because
yell
you're-
the whole time. It's almost like what was the combat game we played for a little bit on PC for a hot minute there?
That's it.
The physicsy combat game.
So far, you're still you keep naming it. It's like this is still like a very large pool of games you can be pulling from.
The one when you held down F, you just yelled.
I don't remember what that was.
What was that game? Someone in chat's gonna know what it
The
is.
medieval fighting game?
Yes, that one. You know what I'm
Isn't
talking
that
about.
Overdrive?
Chivalry. Thank you.
Chivalry.
Scarecrow.
There's a
Yeah,
new
Chiv-
chivalry out.
Yeah,
or-
in Chivalry,
or,
when you just hold down F and you just that's like this. But when you go into Overdrive, you like yell the whole time.
There's,
It's just, like,
there's a game that's out really popular on Steam right now that's a lot like Chivalry.
the-
It also
starts
has
with
a
an M, right?
Mordham or something like
yeah,
that.
something like that. Yeah.
It also has a
Mordholm or
scream
something.
button.
Mordholm. Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah.
feel
It
like
also
more,
has a
interesting
scream
game.
button.
more games should have scream buttons. I
Yeah.
feel like.
Yeah.
And loots.
Yeah. So what's the basic gameplay loop here?
So
I mean, I'm assuming it's pretty
go
standard.
to X place, get assigned quest, go do quest, come back, get reward.
Yeah. So like
And
you're
that's
saying,
probably
like,
why it's
you
catching
are
some
you are
flack critically,
you at
I'd
the
say.
beginning of the game something happens and you become a ranger. Because they have to have rangers, and for some reason you have to become
You're the
one.
last ranger.
Well, I didn't want to say that, but yes. And so you have to now go out and help them kind of like defeat the dicks of the world.
The dicks of the world.
There's these assholes who are out there like causing trouble.
Bunch of different factions.
Yeah, and so you're kind of going off, and so you'll see here. Actually, I think my car does. It either dies or takes enough damage. But you saw quickly, my
Yeah.
car was at full health, and all of a sudden, like it just gets demolished. And so it's one of those things where I think they made the vehicle pretty low on health because it would be pretty OP if you could just sit in that and shoot your turrets at people all day. But it's really easy to just jump out real quick and get into combat.
Yeah, you just hold a button to repair a car too. So
Yes,
it's really
and
easy.
it doesn't cost resources.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is a random quest I came about. It's this ranger refueling station, and my goal here is to just destroy all their fuel.
Yeah,
So they don't have it.
faction found this fuel
Cause
station,
many
took it over.
explosions, basically.
Yes, pretty
Yeah.
much.
So one thing, somebody, I think it was Mr. Green Toast.
So that's me in the whatever
Overdrive.
the overdrive, where I'm just like mowing down dudes.
You're angry?
Destroying
It
people.
looks
You're
very
raging?
satisfying. I will
Yes.
say that the gunplay looks very satisfying. But Mr. Green Toast, I think in Discord the other day was talking because he finished this and he said something about like have you done, how much of the story would you say you've done so far?
Not much at all.
Because apparently there's only like 8 story missions,
I could see that being a thing.
which is kind of crazy. Like I can't imagine a game this big with that few story missions. Because especially because that means anything outside of those very few like narrative focused missions, like the rest of this giant world is just going to be driving from point A to point B and doing like outposts and stuff. Which, as long as the gameplay, like the gunplay, is fun, that's not necessarily.
I mean,
a
the
huge
gunplay
problem.
is fun, and there's. I mean, granted, I've only done like the opening mission and like the first mission you get in Gun Barrel,
Yeah.
which is the first major town you come across. And I don't know. I could feel like that's a possibility, but there's so much to do out in the fucking world.
Is there
that,
is like
You've
is there,
only
like,
done 2 missions?
like of two
Well,
main
you're like
story
a fourth of
missions.
the way through
two
the game.
yeah.
so.
It's one of those things where, like Chris Davis was saying, there's just a shit ton of like optional stuff that you
Yeah.
don't
Is
have
there,
to
like-
do, but it's there, and it's just like, oh, I'm literally driving past this station, and the game's like, hey, do this thing, and it's like, well, I fucking might as
Do
well.
any of those things seem interesting in like a lore way,
Pink.
Not particularly.
or is it just like collectible stuff?
Well, it's upgrades and things like that.
Have you ever been just driving and then like, you look over and you see something and be like, well, that looks weird. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
check that out.
Yeah,
so
that's
what you
definitely
can
a
do
thing.
is the same ability that allows you to like see enemies and like repair your stuff. It's
Yeah.
kind of like a one button thing. You can also see like markers out in the sky in the distance, and it looks like chromatic abrasion like coming out of the sky.
Beams
And if
of
you-
light.
Beams of light. And if you go to
Chromatic
that,
abrasion. Calm down, Chris
it looks
Davis.
like chromatic abrasion. I'm just saying
What even is that?
that making everything look like it's a VHS tape.
Oh,
So anyway, you
Chromatic
see that.
abrasion.
If you follow those, it actually takes you to arcs.
Yes.
okay. So what? I hear people keep talking about the arcs.
So that
What
was
the hell are
like
arcs?
Chris Davis was saying. That's the arcs is where you,
Oh, it's where you're getting these
where
new
you get
abilities.
the abilities
Yeah.
and stuff
Gotcha,
like
gotcha.
that. Some of them are kind of given to you in the world, like as quests, but then other ones are just out there somewhere.
Yeah.
So the point of getting those is just so you can get the new abilities. Generally, each kind of every kind of town you take over, you'll get points towards some faction that you're working with or working towards. You'll get money. You'll get these little gears that you use to upgrade your personal abilities, and then like the nanotrite things that you get in the world that you use. There's a lot of like skill trees in this game.
Yeah.
There is a lot. Like each kind of faction has their own. Like yeah, it's pretty.
Each faction has its own skill tree,
Yeah.
But what?
and
but
then
what-
each of those skill points also has its own skill tree,
Yes.
which you can buy upgrades to upgrade.
and
those
these
things.
abilities in the skill tree, are they skills that like apply to you as a character, or do they somehow upgrade the way you interact with those particular factions? Like, does that make sense?
You as a character for the most part.
most part, yes. Unfortunately, I've only encountered the one faction
Yeah.
so far of the 3 good factions, so I don't know just yet.
Gotcha.
And also, there's another tree like for vehicle stuff.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's like I said, there's just like a shit ton to do in this game.
Aren't those blowing up?
They take a lot of damage to blow up. I think that I was supposed to be shooting them while I was fighting the enemies, and I just didn't realize because there's so much going on.
Holy
The
shit.
game was giving me instructions while I was fighting dudes, and so I just wasn't reading the instructions. And it wasn't until I was kind of a little bit after killing the dudes that I kind of looked up and I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be blowing up
Like,
these tanks.
I will say that like the explosions look.
Well,
really
remember
good.
this is the Apex engine. This is
Yes.
Avalanche's engine. So what you're
When did
seeing
they
is
start
basically
using-
just the Just Cause tech.
So I'm trying to remember what engine they use on Mad Max. So
It's the Apex engine.
I really like Mad Max.
I think I repaired my car right here because I realized it was super damaged. And you'll see that it's like really easy to repair your vehicle. You just kind of walk up
Go
to
out
the
in
front.
front
It
of the
seems
engine.
like this is one of those games where it's like there's a lot to do and there's a lot of different things happening at any given time, but like the emphasis is kind of always on making sure you're having fun, even if it
Yes.
doesn't
Yes.
make sense in the
It-
context of the world or
wants to
whatever.
there's constant. I almost think of like Dying Light. There's constantly something going on.
Yeah.
Where it's like interact, do this, do that. When you drive, like I said, there's nothing between town and town except for there's just be a little band of like 4 dudes just like sit like right there, like hanging out for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Or be
hanging
a
out-
faction fight going
They're hanging
on,
out to be
or-
plowed over by this
Yeah.
fucking car.
which they like to do in this game.
Yep. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm only a couple hours in. We'll see what happens when I get farther.
Would you say you think it has its hooks in you yet?
No. 100% it does not have its hooks in me yet. I last night had a very easy time turning off the game when I was playing.
Gotcha.
But that's not nothing bad. Like I don't think I'm far enough
Sometimes
yet.
those things take time.
It's
so.
one of those scenarios where I'm still getting tutorial stuff at
Yeah.
where I'm at in the game. It's still
Yeah.
teaching me new things. I've gotten to the point. It's one of those scenarios where it's like, I'm like, oh my god, please just let me play. Like, stop giving. And that was, it's funny, like, kind of to take a quick aside. It was something, because I was replaying Final Fantasy X just because I got the urge for some reason.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I didn't realize how much you don't have control over that game.
Dude, that's pretty typical of classic Final Fantasy. I didn't realize it either, but I was playing Final Fantasy IX, and like the amount of time that like they're teaching you, like it's
Well,
like
it's just more like it's almost like Kingdom Hearts, and then it's walk 10 feet, have a cutscene, walk 10 feet, have a cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
Between those, you're having random battles, but it's just like constantly delivering shit to
Yeah,
you. And
but-
I'm like, when do I get to just fucking play the game?
so much of my memory of
When you
like
turn on Final Fantasy VI.
That's true.
so much
Yeah.
of my memories of like classic Final Fantasy are like the freedom of running around the
Yeah.
world doing it, but like then I'm playing it now and I'm like, man, it takes a while to get to that.
I think it's just you remember that at the end of the games, that's when you kind of do all the exploration. As soon as, like, right before the final confrontation or right after you did, you can just explore the world and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I remember about those games. I remember just, stopping, doing, like, story missions and just playing, like, fucking Blitzball and, like, and collecting the final weapons and their upgrades and stuff like that. That's because that's just the last thing you do,
It's
so
also
that's
because
what you remember.
you spend so much of your time towards the end of the game doing all those things. Did that guy just fly off into the?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no.
That's
Once
great.
you turn on like overdrive, it gets nuts.
No, but like that guy was just like standing there, and then he just like shot off the top left of the screen, like he was you turned on a jetpack on him or something.
Pretty much, yeah.
That was
Yeah.
weird.
So you can get like a force push ability. They'll just either shatter their armor or just send them.
So that's what I did in that scenario. Was if you're right up close to them, you pretty much rush close and blast their armor off of them.
Yeah.
If you're farther away, it's like a force push where you just send a blast at them and they go flying.
Yeah. All right.
I wish I could talk more about it. Unfortunately, I've only put 4 hours in.
Well, that's fine.
I just got my
We
third
do these-
weapon in the game.
We do these podcasts every week for a reason, so we can always return to this.
It'd be
Which-
nice if this is good, but we all know. You're excited to play this? You like Mad
I'm
Max?
excited. I do like Mad Max. I like Avalanche. I like Mad Max, but like,
Well, if you like Avalanche,
but like
you should play Avalanche's secret best game, which is Renegade Ops.
That's an older game, right?
It's not that old.
That was like last gen, wasn't it?
Define old.
I don't know. I feel like
Like 7-8 years ago.
I just feel like yeah, I am excited to try this. I don't have my hopes like super high that I'm gonna get like hooked on this like I have other games. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. The thing is, like, what I loved about Mad Max just doesn't seem necessarily be the case here. Like, this seems to be more like 90% gun combat, like 10% driving, and like
Probably.
Mad Max was kind of the flip side of that. And that's what I loved about that game so much, because it was Mad Max to me felt like Twisted Metal in an open world, with like, just like everything, all like the craziness of like the Mad Max movies that made it fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this looks great from a combat perspective, but since there's so much focus on gunplay, it's kind of like there's so many other games that do this kind of stuff. I feel like the driving in Mad Max is kind of it's more rare to find a game that focuses on that kind of stuff. So that's kind of why it hooked me more.
And thinking about it, watching this footage, it really does make me think that Avalanche took a good look at Breath of the Wild and said, we can't do all of this, but we can do some things on here.
Like Breath of the Wild, where are you seeing
Yeah.
Breath of the
So
Wild?
I see comparisons in like the arcs that you find as being like the shrines in Breath of the Wild.
Are they puzzle? Are there like puzzles in them?
Well, it's a puzzle into how to get to them sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Which mostly it's combat, but that's not the point.
The puzzle of how to defeat
But
the
also there'll be
enemies
things
with
that like
bullets.
you'll be driving along and a fucking
or the dick.
like a fucking meteor will come out of nowhere and just strike somewhere in the distance. And you can go to that crater and you can collect the feltrite that it drops off there.
That's kind of cool.
Just various different random things that can happen.
Cool. Well, so you're gonna keep playing it. I don't. It's kind of. It looks like no one's kind of on the
probably-
Yeah, I'm
fence
gonna
about it,
put more
right?
time.
I'll definitely give it. I'll give it more time. I'm
gonna
not going to call it
yeah.
here. This is a weird thing I just got, and they didn't explain it very well. It's the ability to revive yourself.
That was in the first.
That was in the first one.
Yeah, I know, but they didn't explain it that you had to time the circles.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what the fuck is going on? That you have to time the circles of when they close to get the...
That's why you keep repeatedly having a heart attack at the,
Yeah.
at the end of this footage.
Yeah.
All right, well...
and if you did that right in the first game, you could actually get health boosts and additional damage done.
Okay.
So.
It's a puzzle. So we'll probably revisit this in the future. I'm definitely gonna give it a fair shake. I just ended up getting pulled pretty heavily back into Days Gone, so that's kind of my focus right now. But before we talk about more Days Gone, I want to hear about another game.
Are we going to talk more about Days Gone?
Yeah, I have. Yes, absolutely. I have some stuff I want to say about Days Gone. But first,
I don't know why I asked that question. I mean,
Yeah,
I knew we were going to talk about it.
let's talk about the other D game. Brad?
Doom?
No, the other one.
Dark Cloud 2?
God damn it! Talk about Druidstone.
Digimon. Oh.
Druidstone, the secret of
Menhir Forest.
Menhir Forest?
They should have just called this. Is another one of those situations where they should have just called it Druidstone.
Did you spell that right?
It says, I think it's the secret of meh.
I'm pretty
Menhir
sure I
Forest.
copied that out of the Wikipedia page title.
Right after I edited it.
This is a new... Druidstone is a new tactics game made by the people... What made Legend of Grimrock?
Yes.
Not the same studio. That studio doesn't really exist anymore, but those people started a new studio, and I guess some of those people, like the lead on Grimrock, worked on this game.
Why?
So.
Yeah.
Why'd the studio shut down?
I don't actually know.
It's funny because like every time someone talks about this game, it's always prefaced with from the creators of Legend of Grimrock. I didn't even realize
that's
the
what the
studio,
trailer said.
Yeah, I didn't even realize the studio itself, that studio that made Grimrock, disbanded. So
Well, who knows?
So
One and
I
two did fairly well. It's just, and that wasn't too long ago.
and
either.
Legend of Grimrock 2 specifically is a game I still want to go back to and play.
Which
But-
is
Wait,
play that.
Yeah,
That's a great fucking
absolutely.
video game.
I did boot this up because I wanted to try it out. I've only played like 3 missions so far. I'm sure
Yeah,
Brad's played quite a bit more.
I gotta be honest. When I heard that you booted this up, I was really surprised.
Hey,
this
man.
is PC only right now, right?
Yeah, I'm playing it on PC.
Yeah, I'm really surprised.
the PC aspect of it, or this.
I mean,
game?
all
I'm
aspects
capable
of
of playing PC games, you fuckers.
No, it's not just that it was a PC game, but it was also like, it's a tactics game.
Everything that I've seen about it, like I watched some trailers and stuff. It looked really interesting. It looked like something totally different than everything else that I'm playing right now.
Huh.
It seems
Okay.
interesting.
So I guess I would kind of describe it as like fantasy XCOM meets like Into the Breach. It has some elements that seem very inspired by like
Are you a Tonberry?
elements
He
from
looks a
Into the
little like a
Breach.
Tonberry, doesn't he?
Yeah, that character's a
he's
little bit
an-
like a Tonberry. Yeah,
He's an acolyte, a red acolyte. or
he's
something?
sort of the comic relief in this game. He's a jokester. He's a jokester. look at this lady playing the flute. I don't remember her name. I think you
Hold
can
on, she's
you can
wearing
pick their
shoes.
names.
You can, but I just picked the default.
Well, it's not the only reason I wouldn't necessarily have recommended it to you. It wasn't even that. I feel like you go out and decide you want to play this game after you hear me like kind of hype it up on
I
the
usually
podcast.
would. I
I've even
usually would.
gotten to that point.
I don't know why. I was just in a mood to buy something on the weekend, and I was like, "This looks
Okay.
cool."
Sure.
And I just wanted to take a break from Days Gone for a
Sure.
bit and play something else. And
Interesting.
It looks
I'd be curious if you stick with it. I will say I am enjoying it, but I'm enjoying it for very like Brad reasons.
Yes.
I guess you could
no,
say.
it's funny because
But,
like I'm like I've played very little of it so far. I'm really liking the gameplay loop here, but the one thing that if something stops me from playing it further, it's going to be probably the way the story is presented.
Well, so it feels like
It's
kind of
really
like
dry.
budget. Honestly,
I mean, it's like none of the story that like unfolds is like framed in like an interesting way. It's literally like you do a battle and then like not even the camera angle doesn't even change. The characters
I
just
mean,
stay where they are, and
it's-
then like text bubbles appear above their heads, and it's just like
it's just not.
Dry.
It just seems
So-
really budget,
Yeah.
and it doesn't seem concerned with that. Like the Legend of Grimrock games are far more like kind of polished. I mean, it's not like it lacks polish. It's just not. Doesn't seem concerned with telling that story so much. I mean, there's no voice acting or anything.
Yeah.
You know?
So
The writing seems fine. I mean, that funny character, he does some pretty funny things. But I mean, my interest in this game isn't doesn't really coincide with what is happening in the
yeah.
story.
It's purely a gameplay.
back up. What is this game? It's a turn-based tactics game.
It's kind of like XCOM.
Okay.
It also reminds me, what was the game last year where everyone looks like animals, but it's also XCOM?
Mutant Year Zero.
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of Mutant Year Zero, just aesthetically at first.
Which that game was kind of described as an XCOM type game, right?
There's a lot of XCOM type. Like XCOM is kind of a big thing nowadays.
So here's why I really like. So here's why I really like this game. It seems like a really challenging tactics game, and there's a lot of really cool design.
Dude, the first mission, like they give you the bonus thing, the bonus objective. It's like defeat the enemies without taking damage, and I was like, oh, it's literally the tutorial. I can do this. I did it 3 times. I didn't not successfully.
I've done probably like I don't know, like 8 to 10 missions in this game so far, and completing the main objective and completing like the bonus objectives at the same time feels like an insurmountable task.
Have you ever done it yet?
Yeah, I have. Maybe not like all of them, or sometimes all of them. There's usually like a couple. It feels very much like an Into the Breach, where you have like your base objective, right? But then you also want to complete the other bonus objectives so you can get the skill point, right?
Sure.
In the other upgrades. I feel like it's designed that way, right? Like you get rewarded with a skill point by completing like an optional objective in a battle, which could be like open all the chests, or don't take any damage, or don't have any of your guys get knocked out, or yada,
but the
yada,
objectives
yada.
seem to change pretty. I mean, like I said, only
everything changes after doing like 10 or so battles. It is shocking how every single battle feels like it has like a really unique objective. Is never ever just sort of kill everything out there. It's always something unique. And
like
then
the second mission, like there was these like blobs of like these plants that were kind of corrupting everything, and you had to eliminate the 2 plant orbs before like the end of like the 5th turn or something like that, or they would corrupt the entire environment and then spawn a bunch of enemies and make it even harder to accomplish the other objectives.
There's been a handful of like time-based missions. Like in this one, I think it says like after like 12 turns or whatever, the frost comes, and then bad shit's gonna happen.
It's like Frostpunk
when that happens. But like in this mission, I have to light 3 of these like bonfires or whatever, these signal fires, right? And then the optional objective. There's a couple of optional objectives, and it's been really kind of tough but satisfying, because you have a lot of like tactical options. Like right from the get-go, like your mage character has the ability as a free action to just teleport. He could swap with one of your party members. It could swap with an enemy. It could swap with like a barrel of dynamite, right? And just kind of like the and Into the Breach, that unit that can teleport, can swap with things. Like there's a lot of like tactics
behind that.
Tactics in like utilizing that, because it's a free action. I could like say my archer's over there, I could swap with the archer and then move, right? Or I could like lunge with the warrior, then swap with them, then move over here and complete this objective.
And you can even swap places with like enemy characters,
enemies too. And there's been turns, again, because this game seems really tough, especially if you're trying to get these bonus objectives, where something looks like impossible, but then I really kind of think about it and I'm like, okay, I can actually, if I do this and this and this, I can actually accomplish it, like Into the Breach. And some of the stuff, it's been a really satisfying tactics game in that sense. And the maps and stuff, they seem like really well designed. They're insofar as like every single turn with every single character, I feel like I have a lot of options, and they're all like seem like really tough choices. And I think the reason I'm enjoying it so much is because this seems like a really well designed tactics game. But there's also some of that like Legend of Grimrock DNA in here, and I'm like kind of happy about that. Like I've run into battles, or not even battles, like missions that are just like puzzles, which I've never seen in a game like this. Imagine like an XCOM level that's actually just a puzzle you have to solve.
Sounds interesting.
Wait, are you saying when you say it's just a puzzle, you're saying there's like no enemies on screen?
No enemies at all. Like there's not even turns. Like in fact, I think I'm about to pop out and show it to you real quick. Like I was kind of eyeing some of these puzzles in trailers, and that's sort of what got me interested in this game. Outside of just the fact that it's made by the people what made Legend of Grimrock, which, by the way, Legend of Grimrock 1 and 2 is like seriously maybe one of the most underrated franchises of last generation. You should probably play those games.
It's on my list.
Or perhaps
is it bad if I want to? Is it bad if I want to jump straight to 2?
No, I mean that's fine. I mean,
It's not necessary to play
but
one.
like 2 is a much bigger, more ambitious game.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't want you to think that.
Oh, this is a cool looking puzzle.
Yeah, I don't want you to think that. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, I mean the second one's amazing. So, but just play it.
One thing I will say, like based on like the fact that they made a game like Legend of Grimrock is like a legitimately like pretty unique looking game, at least in my opinion. I don't feel like I've seen a ton of stuff that looks a lot like it.
Although the funny thing is, there's quite a few games out there that are kind of doing the Legend of Grimrock thing these days. But
that was because of the influence of Legend of Grimrock, right?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, first person dungeon crawlers have kind of been around since the beginning of time, but Legend of Grimrock had like this real time combat system, which also like games like Dungeon Master did back in the day. But yeah, I mean, whatever. That Legend of Grimrock's great. This game actually seems kind of great so far. But don't go in expecting like a lot of like glitz and glamour. You pick up something like XCOM and there's like really cool like cinematic angles when you're doing like kill shots and stuff. You're not really gonna find that here. I mean, play this game like purely for like really satisfying like tactics and good like map design, really smart like objective design. No mission I've done has felt like any other I've done before it. And it's really satisfying. The other thing I really, really like about this game is I've said this is a lot. I fucked this up, by the way.
Yeah, I was about to say, as soon as I saw you doing that, I'm like, how are you going to get out of there?
Yeah. So one of the other things I really like about this game, and one of the reasons I compared it to like Into the Breach, is the skill system, the upgrade system. And I don't think I really show that here. I do at the end of this footage, but I don't think we're going to get that far. You, like I said, by completing these bonus objectives in battle, you can get rewarded with skill points, and it's very much like Into the Breach, where like that is a very valuable thing, right? Because these skill points, you can kind of plug them into like all these different abilities, and it'll like boost them. It'll give them like really powerful like boosts, right? When in the right situations, can be like can turn an ability that seems okay into like a really, really useful one. But you can like swap those out anytime you want, like between battles. So I could have like first aid. I could, for example, I could plug in I am showing it here. You get these upgrade gems and you can kind of like swap them out, right? So I could have like my first aid spell, like heal for more, or I can give it an extra use in battle, or like my charge ability for my warrior type class, I could like increase its range that a charge is, or I can give it the ability to like heal him if he kills an enemy with it. You know what I mean? That's or cool. I could, with my mage character, I have this skill called like focus, right? And focus has an ability to, if you cast focus as a free action, it boosts like the effects of all of your spells. Yeah. Your spells will start doing different things. All of a sudden, your simple missile attack can now target like 3 different enemies at once, right? But I could also just boost like how many uses that one skill does, or like give it like a poison effect or whatever. But the way you can like mix and match all these different upgrades and like switch them on the fly, it feels very like Into the Breach. And it's very rewarding. It makes every single like skill point that you can obtain via a bonus objective like super desirable, super valuable. And because the game is challenging, because you want to get those bonus objectives, because that feeds into like an upgrade structure that is like super satisfying and rewarding, like I've been really, really impressed and kind of hooked with this game.
So are these maps randomly generated, or are they crafted?
Yeah, no, they're all handcrafted.
Okay.
And like I recently was able to like afford an accessory from the shop, right? Which is this flute here, and this flute lets me spawn like these. It lets me spawn like this little like penguin type enemy or whatever. They kind of remind me of like Prince
but they fight for you.
They fight for me, and I can control them, but they only have like 1 hit point. They can only do 1 damage. But I was able to put like 2 upgrade gems in it, and now I can spawn 3 of them. And it's very much like the ability from Into the Breach, where you can like spawn 2 tanks. The tanks aren't going to do much, but just having control over a couple of extra units on the battlefield gives you so many more tactical options.
It gives you the ability for either pestering enemies, or just causing enemies to go for that instead.
Yeah, like a meat shield,
drawing their attention.
So now all of a sudden I'm only 3 units, right? I just spawned 3 more units that can die real easily, but they could trigger like switches that are traps. You know what I mean? Or
draw fire.
You can sacrifice them to the
You could
traps.
sacrifice them. Like there's dynamite barrels in this, and I can go have one of these little penguin dudes, or they're not penguins. little bird dudes, like attack one of the dynamite barrels and like totally suicide, but could take out a powerful enemy with it. But I don't have to do that because I could have so many tactical options. It's just really rewarding. Again, if you like Into the Breach, if you like XCOM, which the reason I said why use because I don't think you really love either of those.
Well,
but
I liked XCOM a lot. I was bad at it. Is the problem?
Sure, and I think someone who's bad at XCOM could be bad at this because it's very challenging.
You're definitely not wrong there. I don't see myself accomplishing many of these bonus objectives, but like the actual moment-to-moment gameplay, I find to be very fun.
But you will. I think if you do keep playing this, you will try to get those.
And I do genuinely.
You can always go back and get them too once you get
right.
More
And
powerful.
honestly, I feel like this is the kind of game where it's in kind of like Into the Breach, where it's like your first round through, you're not intended to be necessarily at the skill level you need to be to accomplish those objectives, but like by the time you finish it and you circle back around, you're familiar enough with the way the game plays and you're like confident enough that you'll probably be able to accomplish those things a lot easier. So like I like that, even though I may not never get to that point. Like I was drawn a lot to the way this game looked, and like
Sure.
I love the return to like the grid-based moving around the grid, kind of like XCOM. I still think that's a really novel.
One final thought though that I have is that I hope there's like some patches because I could tell this is probably the first like tactics game that this developer has made because you're missing some of like the quality of life stuff that you see in a lot of other tactical games like little like HUD elements that like for example like if you were to move to a spot, you don't know if you actually have like a visual or like line of sight on an enemy, that you can see obviously because it's isometric, but you don't know if the character can see it.
Until you've like confirmed your move or something and you can't move back.
Well, you can move back. You can undo moves in
okay.
this game, and that's very nice. But you can't like I don't know if when I go to the spot I'm going to be able to see this enemy. So I have to do the move and undo it to even find that out. While other games might do like sight lines, or they might do like a little like eye notifier that says, "Hey, I can see these enemies." By just hovering over this spot, you know what I mean?
Things like that. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
They'll
Cone
give you
vision,
the
sure.
range of movement plus range of attack, so you can see if I move here, I'll be able to see this much farther. Yeah.
And it's missing some of those quality of life niceties that we sort of come to expect from this genre. So hopefully, they listen to feedback. Hopefully, there's some patches. I don't think it like makes the game like terrible or anything, but it could definitely be kind of like a top tier tactics game. Maybe not in terms of like budget, but in terms of mechanics, if it has some of these elements in there. But overall, really enjoying the game, and I recommend it.
Again, probably the easiest way to remember that if you're wondering what this game is called, it's Druidstone. It has this like long, kind of obnoxious subtitle.
Druidstone, all one word. Yeah,
Druidstone is probably the better way to remember it. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far too, so I'm definitely gonna play more of it. But we have one more game I want to talk about. I want to return to Days Gone for a second. It's been a couple weeks since I talked about it. I did take a short break from it to play A Plague's Tale, which, quick mention, I finished last week. Great. I think a great standalone game. Good story and everything, pretty much all the way through.
Good standalone game. Are you saying this isn't going to be a series? Are you saying the
so.
main character dies? What the fuck, Nick? Spoilers!
That's not what I'm saying at
damn it,
all. I'm
man.
just saying nothing about this screams, please make a sequel to this. That's never stopped people before, but also I feel like Focus Home Entertainment just tends to make more standalone experiences for the most part. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about Days Gone for a second, because there's a couple things that have transpired in the past 2 weeks that I didn't really have much to say about on the last show that I talked about this. I played this game for probably like 15 hours this weekend, and I'm probably closing in on like 45 hours total. Were you going to ask something, Chris Davis?
Oh, I mean, you ran to that car, and I was going to ask you how well you were learning how to drive. Still.
Oh no! I feel pretty. I still, one thing that I stand by. I still think the motorcycle is great. I love the way it feels and just how you get really confident on it, and it becomes kind of a saving grace in certain situations. But
are the upgrade trees for it, and the like parts make driving that thing better?
No. None of the skill trees in this game are purely tied to range combat, melee combat, and survival skills. The only thing that you upgrade the bike itself by like upgrading the wheels which basically just adds durability and speed.
Oh, really?
That's really what else do you want? Like that's you can add a nitrous thing to it to give you short boosts of speed, but
Can you put a baseball card on the spokes?
no, you don't need to because it sounds like a motorcycle.
sad.
No, but like, what did you expect? I mean, you're upgrading the way you have a lot of customization options for the like way it looks.
How about missiles?
No, this is. Why would you do that?
This would be cool.
Like, why can't you put saw blades on the front?
This is
of it?
not Rage 2.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's a zombie game, Nick.
I know, but he doesn't.
No, it's a freaker game.
Okay, but here's the reason why I don't think they went that route is because the intention for this game, one, this isn't you're gonna probably bust my chops for saying this, but like you do play someone who cares a lot about his bike, and I don't think he would want to sacrifice his bike to take
Does
Sure.
Deacon fuck the bike?
No, you're killing me.
Hey, no,
Well, I mean-
but it's like how Mao didn't want to put all that Reaver shit on his ship because he cared so much about it, but he still did it anyways.
I mean, Deacon is.
So they had to do it
I mean,
to
here's the
survive?
thing.
Oh, man,
the other thing
that's
I was
not
going to
what I
say,
heard.
and the other thing I wanted to talk about this because I finally had a good experience with this, and I didn't really have much to say about it last time. Is like enemies in this game can come at you like in great numbers. Hordes specifically are like one of the biggest dangers in this world. Putting a couple blades on the front of your bike isn't going to do anything in a horde situation because there can be so many zombies grouped together at once that if you run a bike into it, it would like it'd be like hitting a wall.
Oh, because you don't have blades on it.
No,
Yeah.
no, then that's not how this
You
works.
should be cutting through.
You
them.
would take their legs out from under them, chop them off.
Y'all are derailing this.
We don't mean to derail
What
it, but I
there's
think
two
blades
thi-
would be on a
there's-
motorcycle would be cool.
You're right. Maybe that would be. Maybe it would be cool. I feel like it would be a tad unrealistic. It's just not the
wait,
focus.
Do you think freakers are realistic?
All right, Nick, ignore us. Continue.
Ignore.
Yes.
I'm talking to you.
Still, ignore
Okay,
us.
so there's two things I wanted to focus on tonight. The reason I wanted to bring this up again, and this is probably the last time I'm going to talk about Days Gone, other than to say maybe I finished it, is that one, I finally got to have more experience with hordes. Last time I had played it, a lot of my encounters with enemies had been just purely maybe running into like a horde kind of wandering out in the woods or whatever. But even that's a bit different than like finding a cave that is clearly full of zombies and then deciding, okay, I'm going to try and take these out. Because the way the hordes in this game work, like I mentioned a few weeks ago, like I was really worried this was going to be a situation where it's like you go to an area that's like, this is a horde area, and it tells you like there's a horde nearby, and then you go in and you have to like, you're in this like enclosed space where you have to take it out. It's not like that at all. Hordes like are kind of scattered across the world in caves, or like there's a giant horde hanging out in this like old lumber mill, which is what we saw in the E3 trailer a while back. But like at nighttime, they come out of their caves, whatever, and they wander around the world and just do random shit. And they're persistent, as in like if you take like there's a certain number of zombies in a horde, and you have to eliminate every zombie that's part of that horde to eliminate the horde, and that's supposed to like that gives you like that boosts your like ranking and reputation with various towns around the world because it makes them safer.
So if you kill 299 zombies out of a group of 300 and you die to that last zombie, you're fucked.
No. Like
Okay.
You're fine. There could be a scenario where that would happen, but I don't think that would happen. What I'm saying is, if there's 300 zombies in a horde and you take out like 50 of them in one round, next time if you drive off and do a bunch of other shit and you come back, there's 250 still left in that horde.
Okay.
And you can also you can like lead them out of the cave and then like set up bombs and stuff and like literally kind of break them up into pieces to the point where they're all kind of scattering. It's not always like them coming at you like a giant wave, but. The fact that they're just kind of organically in the world, I think, is really cool. But I finally decided, like, I'm going to try a horde for once. And it was in the middle of the day, so they were all hanging out inside the cave. And and I got to my first time doing this was kind of crazy because I wasn't sure if I was ready. But, like, there's so much... First of all, I want to say it's absolutely terrifying. Because you can, as you get close to a cave or something, you can kind of hear them like making their noises or whatever in there, and you have the ability to kind of you can go in there and like fire around or like make a bomb go off, or you can throw in a track and like I decided I was gonna like throw a tractor in there and then like run outside and just kind of stand outside the cave, set up some bombs or whatever, and just like pull out my heaviest machine gun and just try and mow them down as they come out. And like you don't really realize how many zombies might be in a horde until they come pouring out of a cave all at once, and so you just hear them like running and you're like, oh, I got their attention. And then it's just like fucking like 200 zombies just like come pouring like a fucking wave just out of a cave. And immediate panic, like immediate, like everything is falling apart at the seams.
Immediately
like,
regret this
it gets to
decision.
the point, but it gets to the point where it's like you start to think about it like strategically, like, all right, I need to figure out ways to like craft as many proximity bombs as I can, stock up on Molotovs, see if you can kind of strategically scatter them up and take them out separately, that kind of thing. A lot of times it ends up being like I'm going to retreat and jump on my bike and just kind of haul ass because I'm overwhelmed.
What if that bike can drop little landmines?
Or like caltrops,
That'd be pretty good. Yeah.
oil
Mis-
slick,
missiles.
You want them to stub their toe on
a banana peel.
They're zombies. What is that going to do? You're right. There might be some missed opportunity there, but the actual act of like trying to clear out a horde is like super satisfying. And I tried to record this in like multiple parts, but I didn't realize how the PlayStation video sharing thing actually works, because you can only clip one chunk of time once. Like you can't clip something and then like go to it again and then clip another section of it. You know, once you clip one thing, like that whole chunk of video you've used it. It's gone. So that kind of sucks. I tried to clip this whole like scenario I had in this horde, but it was my favorite moment of the year so far in terms of just like pure gameplay and like adrenaline pumping. Like so, this whole situation goes bad here. This isn't a horde. I just wanted to find a random horde and try and kind of show you what's going on, but this all goes very badly here in the footage in a few minutes. But I ended up like in the situation where I was like trying to plant proximity bombs around, and then there were so many in the cave, like only half of them would come out at once, and I got to the point where I was like, did I do it? Did I eliminate them all? But it didn't give me the thing saying I had cleared them out, so I kind of like wandered into the cave like I was terrified. I was like, are they still in here? And I found like this lower part of the cave that was kind of like down off a cliff, and there was probably like 60 of them just kind of like sleeping, like doing that thing in I think we saw it in like Dying Light 2 when we first saw that in E3, where they're like they hang out in dark spaces and they just like they just hang out and like they're standing there and they're just twitching and like sleeping.
Yeah.
And I was standing on this cliff and I was just like, I don't know if this is gonna work, but I took an attractor, which is like a radio thing, and I like threw it into this down in this pit, and like immediately like 100 of these things woke up at once and swarmed it, and I just threw one Molotov into this giant swarm, and it was like 100 of these things like dying on fire, and it was so awesome. But like,
so when you do these caves and you clear them out, is there like tangible rewards deep in the cave? Like,
yeah, usually you'll
like a special weapon.
There's
or
some
something,
sometimes you'll find things that allow you to like boost your stamina or endurance or whatever, or your focus meters. There's also sometimes there's like lore things, where it's like radios where you can like listen to diaries, you know, like audio logs or whatever of things that happened, like so you can kind of hear how the fucking world went to shit.
Or would you say that those upgrades are...
I killed this whole horde of people so I could get to the back of the cave and find an audio log from someone who died from the horde.
Yeah, I mean, like are these like decent incentives for you to actually go through the process of killing 300
I mean, here's the thing. I feel like the horde is probably like the one big unique thing that makes this game maybe unique or stand out. Like playing this game and ignoring the hordes is like would just be skipping like the best part of the game for no reason.
Okay.
You like this is a game where you earn experience. You do level up, and every time you level up, you get the ability to you get a skill point that you can use to upgrade your learn new abilities and whatnot. And you get experience for every single zombie you kill. So taking out a horde gives you a shit ton of experience.
It'd be like playing Red Dead Redemption 2 and not hunting.
Okay.
You son of a bitch. But I mean, I feel like someone who went through this game and said, "Oh, this is kind of a bad game," but I didn't bother playing the hordes. Is like, why would you do that to yourself?
So how many hours have you put into this?
I've probably about 45 hours in this
45?
so far.
Okay. So one of my main concerns about this game, and it was something that we talked about weeks back, was that this game evidently has a strong emphasis on ammo conservation.
Yeah, I mean, it to a degree, it is a survival game. It is easy to run out of ammo.
Yeah.
But here's the first time I tried to draw the attention of the horde, and it fucking totally backfires on me, and I get overwhelmed really fast. But yeah, there are a lot of weapons in this game, and a lot of them do end up having they do have different rates of fire and like different kinds of ammunition, and so you do have to be kind of strategic. Like when you're about to go face off against a horde, you want to get as many explosives and as many machine guns with as big clips as humanly possible. But even though that may not be something you would normally want to take into the world if you just to go explore.
So that initial like E3 demonstration of the game in the sawmill, like that's not a realistic representation of what the game is like.
No, I would
think
say it
it's
absolutely
realistic.
is.
I just don't think it's something that happens like constantly.
Well, I will
Well,
say.
my thing is that like he had like hundreds of rounds of ammo in that. And he
Oh
was
no!
facing
Here's the
off
thing.
against tons of
That sawmill is that sawmill.
the sawmill's in the game.
No, I could be wrong. I mentioned a minute ago that I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the horde at the sawmill is the biggest horde in the game
Okay.
because it's part of the actual. Like they introduce it in the story, like there's like through the cutscenes and whatnot, they introduce it, and it's kind of built up as like this sawmill is fucked. Like don't go do it. So I get the idea that it's probably the biggest one in the game. So they literally shows the biggest set piece in the game to show off at E3. But that sawmill is also way more elaborate. Like I was running around it without the horde there, and like there's all kinds of traps. Like you can run under these. Beams that are holding up these like logs, and as you're running you can like hit a button and he like cuts the cord as he's running under it, and then they just drop behind him, so you can use that if you can like lead the horde through it, and like there's not really anything like that anywhere else that I've found.
Oh,
So,
really?
I mean
That was gonna be my next question. Whether like there was that level design in other parts of the map.
no, I mean not that I can tell. A lot of the hordes seem to be in places that are caves or around smaller towns and whatnot. Where I mean, there's a lot of explosives and shit you could blow up, and there's different things you can do, and you have a lot of different options with weapons and stuff for taking them out. But like that's the sawmill is easily the biggest one I can tell. But the other thing I wanted to quickly mention, because there was a lot of talk about this game when it first came out, about when the reviews were coming out and it was getting kind of mediocre, and there's a lot of backlash from people talking about like the writing in the game. And the story, and there's a lot of focus on one line in particular. I know if you remember it.
I know you're about to defend the story and stuff, but I will say, like that's just people memeing. I don't think reviews were actually really talking as much shit about the
every review
that
I read talked about how the story was not good, and I literally can't kind of fathom it because I am super pulled into this. I think Deacon is one of my favorite characters of the year. Not necessarily saying he's like a good person, but he is a really well developed character, and like the narrative goals in this game they're very personal. They're very like small scope. Like it's very focused on him. He kind of finds the whole thing is built around him. Like he kind of finds out that his wife, who he thought died when the outbreak happened, may actually still be alive, and it's kind of him just trying to find her out there in the world. And like I'm gotten to the point where I like both him and his wife. That you see them quite a bit, obviously, but like a lot of the supporting cast too. There's like 3 or 4 characters that you interact with a lot. Boozer is a big one, but like Ricky, who's one of the people at one of the main camps you go to. Iron Mike, who's there's a lot of really great characters in this game, and they're all portrayed really well. The voice acting is fantastic, and just like everything, like the whole story from start to finish so far, to me has felt super engaging. And I don't want to bring up The Last of Us, but that's kind of like the standard when it comes to like zombie games and like stories and whatnot.
Better than The Last of
No,
Us?
I'm not saying it's better than I'm not saying it's better than The Last of Us, but like,
Brad?
but what I am saying is like there is a really good like touching story to be told here that I think is absolutely worth people's time. And a lot of people were like jumping on the opportunity to kind of like make fun of this and like without any context whatsoever, especially around that one comment about the whole like ride me like you ride your bike thing at the wedding, missing so much context.
I mean, how would that position even work?
Ride me as much as you ride your bike.
The whole controversy, quote unquote controversy, was built around was because there's a line in the game where you have a flashback to his wedding, and she says, just promise me to ride me as much as you ride your bike, at like in their vows or whatever, and like. One, it's delivered. The delivery is fine. 2, it's kind of a play on a trope, in like, the MC bikers. It's something that's commonly said at weddings and whatnot. And okay. 3, there is a line later in the game, like much later in the game, where in another flashback that explains why she said that at the wedding, because it's like there's a whole thing, and
she wanted to.
Nobody was talking about that.
He does. He did wear a backwards hat to his wedding, though. That's fucked up.
Have you? I mean, he's okay, but I mean, like, to me, it's totally believable in the world and the character. Like, it all, to me, like everything has kind of made sense so far. The things that stand out to me as like maybe particularly bad are like the situations where like, and I mentioned this before, like when he goes into like a camp where there's like an enemy faction there or something, he starts to like have these like dialogues to himself that are really, to my opinion, unnecessary. Where you're talking about like, I gotta fucking kill them all, and it's like it's totally at odds with everything else that he talks about outside of that. Because everything outside of that is really well done and really well portrayed. He just his personality changes completely in the world when he's going out to clear out these camps. Probably because they knew that a lot of these games often get a lot of flack for like, you know, it's all about murdering tons of people at these camps. So they wanted to try and add some kind of like context to it, which I think was unnecessary. And like you said, Nolan, he talks too much.
He does talk.
He comments on everything, and that has not gotten better. I actually kind of hope they patch it and like, like you can kind of tell like, oh, we got like, you know, kind of a semi big actor. Like we should take it like. We can afford him. Yeah. Let's use him as much as humanly possible. And I feel like that was maybe a mistake.
Yeah.
But what he has done here is actually quite impressive. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. So I just wanted to go to bat for it for a second because I think it's terribly underrated, especially from a narrative perspective. So if you're into games like this with a good, touching story, if you liked something like The Last of Us, I think this is absolutely something that would be up your alley. So
you should be able to
it is a big time commitment. This is a long game. You
should be able to attach that megaphone to your bike and then use some saw blades to drive through zombies.
Or you could just attach the megaphone to the bike because it attracts zombies.
Yes.
Then
you can drive through them with your saw blades.
I mean, this isn't Rage 2, Chris Davis.
No, it's not Dead Rising either, unfortunately.
No, well, I didn't like Dead Rising, but that's just me, personally. Anyways, I just wanted to go to bat for it for a second because I don't feel like it doesn't get enough attention about it, and I think this game is utterly fantastic.
Cool.
It is just maybe a bit long in the tooth. I'm actually really shocked. At this point, I'm so shocked that there is as much like the budget they had for this game as far as like cutscenes and dialogue and story is so much more than I thought it was going to be. I'm kind of like, oh my god, how did they get this much into this game? It's ridiculous.
Well, they also had a long time to develop it.
Yeah, but I didn't think Sony was going to give them Sony Bend this much money to make this game because like the budget in this game seems pretty fucking high.
I mean, what was their last game before this?
Was it Uncharted Golden Abyss? No, it couldn't be.
No, that was a Vita launch title.
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus.
What? Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody. Wait, who made The Order? Was that The Order? Was that The Order? No, that was
Ready at Dawn.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, but they're similar to Sony Ben in that they're kind of stuck in the handheld salt mines for many years.
Yeah, that's true. But this is their first new IP in quite a while, and it's
Uncharted Golden Abyss.
It sold real well.
And Big Wazoo in chat says it was announced, and I think this is right, but Sony said this is their 7th highest selling first party game in their history.
Shit, it might be Golden Abyss.
Oh my god!
Holy!
After doing something like Golden Abyss, I find it shocking that they were given the amount of money they would need to make this game.
Sorry, they did Uncharted Fight for Fortune.
The fuck is
Did that come out?
I don't think so.
Was that like board or card game thing?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
I had forgotten that fucking.
That's
existed.
the last thing they did.
It sounds like they did what Sony said they needed to do to be given the ability to make this game, and it's pretty crazy.
Wow.
But anyways, yeah, that's probably the last time I'll talk about Days Gone. I hope someone else plays it. I hope somebody out there I know a lot of people in our community kind of picked it up and have been enjoying it. I just think it's one of those games that's maybe not getting the best rap because it's not Horizon or whatever, but it's still pretty fantastic.
Huh.
All right, are there any other small games we want to mention before we take a break? I don't think so.
You do tweet more about this game than I think you even did for Red Dead 2.
I'm having a really good time with this game. Don't take that to mean that somehow I like more than Red Dead Redemption 2.
Well, do you?
No, I don't think so. No, this game doesn't even come close to the detail, like the level of detail and like amount of content I think that's it total in like Red Dead Redemption 2. Like this is smaller in scope, but it is also.
I want you to be honest with me. Have you thought about maybe seeing yourself in the future getting a motorcycle?
No. No, not even remotely.
Okay. What about a backwards cap?
I've worn a backwards cap before.
Okay.
I tweeted something about this game, and Brad said,
Has Robin
it's
ever
the
said
hat.
to you, "I want you to"? No, I'm just kidding.
Nope. She has not.
Nah.
Okay. just
Yet.
checking.
And Nick's
Anyway.
gonna stick with the same car that he has right now that
Yes.
he's had for.
It's paid off. I'm sticking with it for now. Anyways, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about some juicy news involving George R. R. Martin and From Software, among other things.
And some Monkey Paw news.
Monkey Paw. What's Monkey Paw? Why am I totally blanking?
George R. R. Martin and From Software. That's the monkey paw.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. But okay.
Anyways, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about all that news. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this short break.
I want to say like
I mean,
what's a little nugget of like, okay, well, this part kind of sucks. It's like the people who play Red Dead and say, okay,
I mean,
there is a little too much fucking
the
shooting and the controls are a little rough.
The world lacks the variety of something like Red Dead.
variety.
I mean,
it almost feels like
it lacks.
like the objectives are kind of uninspired.
To me, I mean, there's some pretty cool. I mean, the thing is, like, it kind of hinges. A lot of your enjoyment of it is going to kind of hinge upon how much you enjoy, like, riding the bike and shooting the zombie. I personally feel the gunplay feels really good in this game, and I feel like the zombies are terrifying. But like the world itself is just not very dense. There's not a whole lot of, you're not gonna like one thing I've noticed, like there's a lot of buildings you can go inside of. There's never a zombie or anything hiding in the building. Like you never go into a building and like, oh fuck, what's in here?
That seems like kind of disappointing.
Strange.
Yeah, I found that to be quite odd. To unorthodox in chat, to your point about the performance, like I don't think performance, considering the size of this game and how much there seems to be quite a bit of polish in this game, but perhaps not in some areas more than others.
But are you playing this on the Pro?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that might be a deciding factor too. Like I don't know.
I
assume
think
most
I
people
did see some performance complaints.
I mean, sure, there are a fair amount of bugs that, and there's been some situations, I don't know. I feel like my bike has had some there's been some audio hiccups and stuff every once in a while.
I've heard the biggest complaints I've heard about this game, besides like technical wise, is like audio hiccups. Pop in, I heard, it can be pretty bad at times.
Maybe I don't think it's not much of an issue in the Pro.
But I've heard on the Pro,
that's making sense to me though, because I feel like performance issues or like bugs that could definitely bring a score down.
I mean, there's also the thing like the internet is it's fucking awash with these videos of guys just being out in the middle of the world and suddenly a fucking horde spawns directly.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious. I've never seen that happen, but like, I feel like
the thing is, it's not just one video; it's happening to a lot of people.
But like, so it happens in Skyrim, and that's one of the most highly rated games ever made. Like, this is not like Elder Scrolls level of fucking bugs. Fallout has 1,000 times more bugs and dramatic bugs than this.
I think in that regard, there's also 1,000 times more stuff to do in Fallout.
And there's also a lot more.
I mean, I think it comes down to like just the world isn't the densest. Like there's not like a fuck ton of variety in what you're doing outside of the world, but there's so many different story threads that you can follow that are pretty well done that it just kind of distracts you from the fact that there's not a ton happening in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest. There was one I saw somebody on Twitter who was like, "I'm ready to take out this horde," and it was like a picture outside of a cave, and he had taken like 100 bear traps. I don't even know how he did it. There's like 100 bear traps, and he's lined up this like coming out of the cave, just fucking hundreds of these bear traps. And I was like, one, how the fuck do you do that? You can only carry like one at a time. I don't know. He's literally going off in the world, finding these bear traps, coming back and setting them one at a time.
They're that.
And I was like, Yeah, it's like,
Okay,
dude,
I kind of like that.
there are
Maybe later on in the game.
I've killed zombies and like driven off across the map and then come back like 2 hours later and their corpses are still there. I mean, they eventually despawn.
That's one thing I've
Really?
heard about the game, that the corpses and stuff hang out for a really long
Yeah,
time.
they
I
eventually
didn't know
despawn,
about this
but-
level of persistence.
But
Maybe
I
get
was
the
like, I
ability to
remember
craft
seeing
them.
this picture of all these bear traps and just being like, God, I wish he had posted a video of what happened. Like, I would love to see just hundreds of zombies come piling out of this cave and just getting all caught in these bear traps because it'd be fucking hilarious.
Are bear traps reusable?
Yeah.
Oh.
Have you ever seen a bear trap, Chris Davis? Why would it
I
not
mean,
be
video
reusable?
games.
This was all
let's go
really
back
good
to it.
discussion, so I'm just gonna keep it and we're gonna roll with it.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Let's jump straight into the news. Chris Davis, you ready to hit us with some news topics?
Yes. How about let's start off on the downer note.
Oh,
The monkey's paw.
Okay, is this the
The fuck are you talking about?
What is
The
the monkey's paw?
The George R. R. Martin
Oh,
thing.
okay.
Stop saying
No.
monkey's paw.
I don't know what a monkey's paw is.
Wait, really?
What is a
A
monkey's
monkey
paw?
paw.
Monkey's paw is a,
You know,
is a
the
device.
short
It's
story.
that when you make a wish, you have X amount of wishes. As soon as you use a wish, one of the fingers folds.
Uh-huh.
But they're always like they always double
They're
back.
twisted
They're-
wishes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so if you would wish,
twisted
I wish I had a sandwich. You get a sandwich, but it'd be like rotten.
Oh.
Yeah, there's always some like downside to the
Like,
wish.
Thank you for explaining this to me.
Yeah.
So, Sony has apparently announced that they've set up a new division of their company that's going to focus on adapting their key properties, key video game properties, into TV and film. This is all going to be developed in-house, and the first rumored one... Okay, first of all, you think about this. You hear someone say something like, we're going to adapt our biggest properties into TV and film, right? And you think of all of Sony's recent successes. Oh my God. God of War, Horizon, Killzone, Uncharted, like all of these things, and you're like, oh my God. The first rumored one is Twisted Metal.
And that's the monkey's paw right there.
It's, okay, your monkey's paw makes more sense to me now.
Yeah, so we're finally getting a new Twisted Metal thing, but it's a fucking TV show.
But you know what, they're probably, if they do that, they're probably...
And Brad died a little bit inside as that statement came out.
How do you feel about it, Brad? Possibly, did
I
they say
mean,
this
most stuff that's adapted into like TV and film is fucking terrible, so I assume this is gonna be terrible too.
did they say
I mean, The Witcher's getting turned into a TV show, and I think it's probably
going to be bad?
completely garbage. So, I mean,
I think
I'd rather.
I think out of The Witcher and Twisted Metal, you could probably get a better show out of The Witcher.
Out of The Witcher,
That
yeah.
being said,
Twisted Metal is probably more fun.
I could see them doing something Fast and the Furious-esque
Oh my God.
out of Twisted Metal,
Oh,
and
God.
maybe it being
Death
fun.
Race, you know,
maybe
yeah.
it being
Guys,
like kind of like in a
Mad Max, you know.
Real,
I mean,
real quick aside, because you mentioned Fast and the Furious. When I saw John Wick this past weekend, they showed a trailer for the new Hobbs and Shaw movie, right?
Yeah.
The entire theater was laughing like very
Same.
loudly
During the
that
trailer?
entire trailer. And then as soon as it ended, you could kind of hear everyone start whispering to each other, and like Robin turned, she's like, "That looks so stupid. We should go see it."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "That's like what everybody was turning."
That's
like, I was
that
like,
whole
"Oh my God."
series.
That's the point of that film.
It's so bad. It looks so bad. Anyway, sorry.
I mean, great, so great.
Yes, sure, great. But what the fuck would even a Twisted Metal TV show even end up being?
I like Mad Max with crazier
Yes,
characters.
all it
Yeah.
is it's a crazy tricked out vehicles
yeah.
that you have rockets and explosions and this and giant. Think of like a Death Race 2000, like just some crazy over the top thing, like Running Man.
Death Race
my
is probably-
assumption is it's gonna be some post apocalyptic future, and the fucking crazy show on TV is Twisted Metal,
Who is-
car combat, blah blah blah.
Who's the main character?
Oh, I don't know.
Sweet Tooth.
I don't think it's gonna be Sweet
Not
Tooth.
Sweet Tooth.
I don't think it's gonna be Sweet Tooth.
Of all those characters, though, like Sweet Tooth, that's the
He's
most
the most
I think
He's the most
I
iconic.
think I'm
Sure,
calling it
but
now.
he's
There's
also
going to
a
be some
psychopath.
scene where
Yeah.
like the people are talking and Sweet Tooth is going to walk in and it's just a guy with a fucking clown mask just breathing. Just
It's gonna be Sweet
it's
Tooth.
going to be something like weird.
Sweet Tooth
like
is
that.
gonna be the villain.
yes, or like at least like
or he's
the-
gonna be the Joker. I mean, he's gonna be
Yeah.
like the. I mean, there's lots of villains in Twisted Metal.
yeah. like
Did they
pretty
say
much
whether
everyone.
this is supposed to be the Twisted Metal thing specifically?
It's
supposed
funny
to
he
be a show or
said
a
this is a
movie?
monkey paw thing because one of the things about Twisted Metal is you win the tournament and you get a wish from Calypso, and they're always monkey paw wishes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, he didn't know what he was saying, but it is.
I didn't know about that aspect,
Yeah.
but
it all makes sense now. Well,
Don't order the big red.
what are we? I don't know what that means. Are we?
The clip. Never mind.
So is there any
There's good people
Is there
in
any optimism here about other things they could adapt? I feel like Uncharted is I feel like Uncharted would make an excellent TV show.
Oh, 100%.
Incredible TV
could.
show.
I think you could very easily, if you get the right people, make a great Uncharted
I feel
TV
like the
show.
budget would have to be pretty high, though.
I don't think so. I think there might be a few set pieces where like you'd have to have a high budget, but I think in reality,
I
it's
just feel like the filming locations would have to be exotic.
It kind of end up being like a modern take on young Indiana Jones.
yeah, potentially, yeah. Just because you have to go to a jungle to film something doesn't mean it's going to cost you a whole lot of money. I mean, you go out there with the skeleton crew of people, and you can fairly easily get.
It's just it is one of those things where I'm not going to rule out being excited for a Twisted Metal show, even though it probably would end up being pretty bad. But like, if this is a thing that
it could be Shadow of the Colossus, and it's going to be bad. It doesn't matter what they choose; it'll probably be bad because.
How serious do you think they are about this? I feel like this is one of those things that gets announced and we never see.
I mean, my problem
anything.
with it is that the point of reference for like video game TV shows, like the most prominent one I can think of is what Microsoft tried to do with Halo over and over and over again.
Which apparently is still a thing that's happening.
They've been trying to push a movie for like 15
No, they're doing
years.
a show. Is it a movie or a show?
They
coming
had
to
an
Showtime.
anime
Yeah,
analog.
Leah Schreiber's bro's going to be Master Chief.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like that is like
don't
on
know.
the horizon at this point. We got Castlevania on Netflix, which turned out better than anybody expected.
That's an anime.
but so many
That's a
publishers have been trying to.
cartoon.
I mean, this could be an anime.
Shows.
You don't know that. They just said they're adapting it to film and TV. Any one of these things could be an animated thing.
The only relatively successful video game TV show I know of right now, other than like that Sonic Boom, was the Rabbids show that came out in Europe.
There was a Rabbids. Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all. I don't know why I'm
Yeah.
acting surprised. I don't know. This could be interesting. It just seems strange to me because
Castlevania, I guess.
it sounds to me like one of those things that like. But the thing is, like when they announced they were going to do a Witcher TV show, like I thought of that as a thing we would never actually see. Like it would never actually happen. And then we started seeing casting photos, and I was like, oh my god, they're actually
Brad,
doing this.
Have you ever heard of a little game called Pokemon? They made a movie about that. That's not horrible.
That's anime, though.
No, it's not.
No, like
live
Detective
action.
Pikachu.
It's now live.
Detective
Oh,
Pikachu.
oh, it's like I haven't seen it.
But
I
that's
mean,
got
neither have I, but I've heard it's like it's not horrible, but it's not
got the Pokemon.
it's
Sure,
not
but that's
fantastic.
also like a big budget, like phenomenon size.
I mean, this is Sony. Who knows how much money they're going to put at
phenomenon-sized
this?
franchise.
I hope this is at least successful enough for them to get far enough to release like the first thing, so we could just see the potential, see because this is like so
have
random.
high hopes.
It's so random at this point. We have no idea what to actually expect from this in terms of
Correct.
quality. So I don't know.
It could be shit.
It could be interesting.
Well, I mean, Game
But
of
it could be
Thrones is
shit.
done, but The Witcher's coming. We all have high hopes for that, right?
Hey man, I didn't expect Castlevania on Netflix to be good. But
That's a cartoon.
But Brad, I
feel like you use cartoon as a derogatory descriptor so much.
Regardless
No,
of it
that's-
being an animated TV show, I think the story and writing are what makes that show pretty good. And I still think, while it might be slightly more difficult, I still think you could take that and make it live action with that same
Sure,
story.
but you take that exact same Castlevania show and you make it live action, and all of a sudden it goes from like badass animation to cosplay.
also, dude,
Because they don't have the budget to make it look like anything but fucking cosplay.
I will say this: Netflix has like.
I'm
so
worried
much-
that Geralt of Rivia is going to look like some fucking,
there's been
Dragon
there
Con
have
shit.
been there have been
Why? Look at fucking Game of Thrones. Just making a couple of outfits is not like it doesn't take millions
I mean,
of dollars.
here's the thing: like seeing someone standing in front of a camera in costume with nothing else around them can look goofy, but like a lot of it's going to hinge upon the post production and the actual filming of it, and like the post production can make all the difference in the world.
Also, fuck you, Brad. There are plenty of great cosplayers out there. They spend a lot of time and money, and their costumes look fantastic.
I'm not shit talking. Like
Sci-fi is a cosplayer.
Cosplay
Yeah.
is great. I
No
don't-
respect for sci-fi.
Wow.
But there's a certain thing about like fantasy. If fantasy doesn't have like a pretty impressive budget, it tends to look cheap and it ruins everything.
Did you think Xena Warrior Princess looked cheap?
Well, maybe.
It was
But
the 90s. What could you do?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer looked cheap at times,
But that wasn't.
but
like
that show's
fantasy.
writing is so good it didn't fucking matter. I'm just saying.
That was also Joss Whedon. So
That was you're right. He could do a lot But
All right,
very
let's
little.
move on.
Anyways, next news topic. Sony and Microsoft
announced
have
the
announced
PlayStation 6.
Oh my god, they stole Brad's joke.
They did.
The
Fucking
Onion stole
your
Brad's joke.
Might have actually just stole it. Maybe.
Anyways, Sony and Microsoft have announced a cloud gaming partnership.
Hey, dude, it makes sense.
/relationship.
You know, Microsoft has Azure, which is their cloud platform. Sony's always has been trying to get into cloud for a while now, but that whole process is very expensive to just do from scratch. So them
Yeah.
consuming Microsoft's already established infrastructure makes sense.
With this sort of public-facing relationship, you think this is sort of like they're them saying "fuck you, Google"?
No,
we're going to unite.
I absolutely think this partnership probably came about as a reaction to Google Stadia, as like we've got to band together to make sure that console hardware as we know it is able to compete with Google Stadia, and like, you know, we have to make sure our infrastructure is in place and strong.
They have to make certain that the next generation of hardware is going to be able to do that streaming.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely a result of the Google Stadia situation. I
love it. Competition.
I do find it funny that a lot of this partnership was announced, and it was widely talked about that like a lot of the people at Sony, like working at Sony, outside of the people that would be in the boardrooms talking about these decisions being made, were completely
That does not
had
surprise
no
me.
idea this was happening until
Because the
it was
problem
announced.
is, as soon as they start telling people, those leaks get out, and then
Yeah.
everyone knows about it. So they're just like, let's just announce it. And then the next day, I'm pretty sure they told everyone, like, hey, by
Yeah.
the way, this is what's coming down the pipe.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I mean, I think seeing any one of these companies start to like partner in any way is going to be really interesting, because it's just been so many years of just constant like competition and trying to stay in their own lanes. I feel like it's time to mix some shit up. Start talking to each other a little bit and see what comes of it, because that's how some pretty cool shit, like some pretty cool innovations might happen. I don't know.
Or just industry cooperation, like fucking crossplay between
But
systems.
industry cooperation can lead to like scary stuff too. Like,
I mean, yeah.
like game prices going up, or like, hey, we're not going to do physical media next generation because we've made an agreement.
But like that's at this point, that's like next like we're not even in the next generation yet.
I mean,
but
I'm
we
pretty
already
sure it's
know
been
that.
confirmed that the next system is going to have physical discs.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm just saying, like, sometimes that next step means that big companies have to agree.
That's fine.
True. Yeah. So there's not a whole lot to say about this right now. We'll talk more about it as they start. I'm sure this might be. There's probably gonna be something at E3 about this. I would be willing to. I'd say on Microsoft stage they might announce like maybe the
They might
early
say something, yeah.
concepts that might be born from this partnership. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, if anything, it might just tie into the next gen systems talk. So
Yeah, that's true. So we might see more about that when Sony decides to announce the PS5.
yeah.
Or, well, they're probably going to announce the next Xbox at E3, right? That's kind of the big rumor.
Yeah.
I would assume is that we're going to get our first next gen announcement at E3 from Microsoft.
And Sony's already teasing like the aspects of their new system.
Yeah, and they
like,
even did a tech demo this past week.
of load times for their games.
So I don't know.
Where is
So-
this?
I forgot where the actual PS5 tech demonstration was.
I would just be interested in looking into it a little more. So
Yeah, they did a test. They did a speed test versus the PS4 Pro versus PS5 tech
Can I
running.
find this on
I mean, it was posted.
Sony.com.
No, I saw it. Just Google
There's
it.
a video
It's,
out
it's,
there.
it's all over like pretty much any major news site.
Okay, cool.
Basically, what they did was they took Spider-Man PS4 and they loaded it on.
I don't need to know what they did. I'm gonna look it up. That's fine. I was
Okay.
just curious as to where I find it.
Everywhere.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, I'll look into it
All
later.
right, let's do the next news topic. All right, all right, I wanted to go ahead and we're talking
the
about
big
George.
end.
Yeah, so this
Game of Thrones.
is over.
Thank
And George
God.
R.R. Martin is apparently has confirmed in an interview that he is collaborating with a game studio from Japan on a game. There has been a lot of rumor recently about From Software working with George R.R. Martin. And as of this morning, there is a lot of like potential leaks. I don't know if this is a leak or as much of it's just like a really detailed rumor at this
It
point.
took the internet by fire.
People were, or it took it by ice and fire, if you will. Sorry. But
saying about it.
the rumor is that not only is George R.R. Martin collaborating with From Software in a new game, the game is called Great Rune, apparently.
And the main character dies in the first hour of the game.
It is apparently a Viking open world setting from Software that is apparently...
Where? Okay.
Did you not see all these details? There's a shit ton of detail. And
There's new details?
this was this morning. It's like the first thing I saw when I woke up this morning.
They said Vikings? The word Vikings?
Yes.
Okay.
That's part of the rumor. Open world Viking game collaboration between George R. R. Martin and From Software. And apparently, the other part of this rumor is that it's going to be announced or unveiled at E3 on the Microsoft stage. I don't know how much of this is true. Obviously, I don't know how much of this even seems realistic to me.
I mean, they revealed Sekiro at Microsoft.
Well,
True,
We do know George R. R. Martin
Is a person.
officially
is working on a million
collaborated with a Japanese game company.
things. Yes.
Because he recently said that in a blog post.
Yes. But like hearing that and then hearing people talk about details in the game and also finding out that it's potentially going to be revealed in 20 days seems a little fast, especially since Sekiro is still super fresh. And that also kind of leads to the question of like,
teams, though.
Are you telling me they're going to have 2 new IPs released before Bloodborne 2 comes out?
I think,
Or is even
I think they
revealed?
might be waiting for PS5 for Bloodborne.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You're right. You're probably right.
Yeah.
It just does strike me as strange that like if they're apparently working on a Bloodborne 2, which everyone seems to be convinced is absolutely happening, they just made Sekiro and they're about to unveil another new IP. It seems like a bit much. Is From Software that big? They have to have that many
Been growing.
to have that much shit in the oven at the same time?
I mean, if they are,
Nick, they got 2 ovens.
They would need like 4 ovens for that.
Evidently 3 at least.
At least
One of them's a convection oven. They got the airflow going. They're moving.
I see.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's one of those scenarios where they might not have their full force, obviously, on every one of these, and so they've spread out a bit. And if they think they can handle it, I mean, I have confidence and faith that. I
have all the faith in the world in From
They don't have
Software.
release dates on them yet, so it's not like these are all going to come out in 6 months. So I mean, just because they're working on something doesn't mean it's an
Right.
immediate thing. My assumption is they split up their teams. They have, a core team starting this process while this other team finishes off this. And once that launches, they'll move a bunch of people over here. And they're kind of leapfrogging stuff, but they don't want to like just wait until Project A is done before they start on Project
and honestly,
B.
I feel like if this is true and this is announced at E3, it's going to be like the Sekiro announcement where it was literally just a tease.
Oh yeah.
And I could see From Software and George R. R. Martin's name appearing in like from this like vague imagery or whatever, and then maybe a title, and then like fade to black, and that's it. Like that might be all we get. For this.
George from Software Martin.
Yes.
I mean, if George R. R. Martin is just recently visiting Japan to collaborate, I doubt the game's going to be like playable.
Oh,
Well,
You know?
I mean, he didn't specify the timetable of like how long he's been.
I mean, it's
collaborating
possible
on
that
it.
this might be the Sekiro team. Yeah,
That's
But that would be
unlikely.
but that would make it very unlikely they would actually be announcing something this soon. Like, you don't wrap Sekiro and then start work on a new project and then announce it like 2 months later.
I mean,
or 3 months later.
I don't know.
We'll see. I don't know.
What I will say is that if this is real and Bloodborne 2 is an actual project in development, it's a little sad because I was really they teased years ago that they might go back to an older IP that they own, and one of their older IP is Armored Core.
Yeah. I don't. There was a lot of talk about Armored Core before Sekiro was announced, and I don't know.
They did an Armored Core game after the
Oh,
release
and
of
remember-
Demon's Souls, and no one really liked it.
I remember From Software recently before I think it was before E3 last year, there was a lot of talk about From Software had like 3 projects in the oven, and a lot of people were like, one of them could be Armored Core. I feel
Yeah.
like one of them was probably this.
Probably.
So I don't know. I think it's a dream collaboration, right? It's the equivalent of like Kojima working with fucking Guillermo del Toro to make a Silent Hill game. It's maybe not to that
It's a little
extent.
sad for me though, because I hear George R. R. Martin's involvement, and I want a really good Song of Ice and Fire game.
Yeah.
I
Or
want it
maybe
to be
a book.
a Souls game that's Jon Snow Beyond the Wall or something like that, right?
Or a finished project.
I mean, what if this is a Game of Thrones licensed game from Software?
It's not.
It's not. Sorry, it's definitely
Fucking
not
Norse
happening.
mythology, which
So we'll see what happens with that. Is there anything else we want to say about that?
Didn't we have one other thing we talked about?
Oh, we were going to talk about GameStop.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, real quick, I just wanted to take this opportunity to mention, because I was going to mention it earlier in the show, but I didn't. We're talking. I'm in loose talks with Crispy to possibly start doing like a because we're both rereading, or he's rereading Game of Thrones. I'm rereading the first book right now, but I plan to go through the whole series because I've never done that. And it kind of, obviously there's been a lot of talk about Game of Thrones in our Discord because of the show just ending and all this stuff, and a lot of people getting excited about rereading the books. And we're talking about maybe doing a series of 4Player Plus, like bonus podcasts where we do kind of like a book club thing where we get together periodically and talk about where we've read to at certain points in the book. I'm not sure how much of that's going to come together or not, or what form it's going to take, but like Crispy seems pretty excited about it. I'm really enjoying reading the books again. A lot of people in chat seem to show some interest in doing it as well, so I think that's something that we're giving serious thought. So just wanted to put that out there. But yeah, let's talk about GameStop. That thing.
I mean,
So we don't have an overlay for it, but
from what we know, they're changing how their pro.
They're changing
program
something they've
works.
been doing for like 10 plus years or
Yeah.
more. Their rewards program, or their power up rewards program, is no longer 10% off all used games.
Correct.
It's going to be, is it a $5 or a $10?
It is
$5
a
voucher.
$5 voucher that you get once a month, and it lasts a month. It does not roll over.
So they're trying to guarantee to make sure they get people in the store, but $5 is not enough to
It is
entice
not.
people.
nope.
Like, considering you used to be able to save, if you buy like a $55 game, like, that's
You're saving
$5.50.
$5.50,
That's $5.50 right there off that game alone. And
How much
You
is
stack
the
those-
membership?
60.
it used to be
bucks?
$15.
I think it's 60 a year. Hold on, that could be
No,
just
you get
completely
$60 a year.
It was
Yeah,
I think it's 20.
It's 20 bucks.
pulling that out of my butt.
So you're getting $40 a year.
it does. I mean, they're still packed.
If it costs $20 a year and you're getting
I guess
$60,
It's still
Yeah, I see
bundled
that.
with Game Informer, I would imagine, right?
Oh,
That's what kind of worries me.
So the thing is, they're going to
Why?
be. I'm guessing like all these these $5 vouchers are going to be in the magazines because you get them.
I don't think they'll be in the magazine. I still think they'll send them to you like digitally.
I don't know, but it's a real bummer because like you used to be like, oh, I can get 10% off all these games. Like I'm gonna go like buy like a stack of games, like 3 or 4 games at like $40 to $50 a pop, like if they're recent used games, right? But
Yeah.
you do that knowing that you can save, $15-20 or more
This is
buying
awful.
those games. Like this,
Yeah,
like,
so
this
it's
bullshit.
20. Sorry, the reason I remembered 60 was you get $60 a year. Is what
okay.
it says, and rewards cash. But yes, it is $20.
But you have to
get
use it.
$40.
You have to use it the month you get it. So they're trying to guarantee people
So-
come into the store to use it. This is a sign that they're losing. They're burning through money, too much money, because of their used game program and the direction the industry is heading. That's what it seems like to me. And like GameStop has been on the decline for some time, and like they just can't afford to maintain their business with that deal anymore.
Well, I mean, they've also changed very much as a store from when we were employed there versus
Yeah.
today. Like today, they're a third of a toy store at this point.
Yeah, because
They got walls of fucking Funko Pops.
half a
and shit.
toy
yeah.
store.
They're
I mean-
not toys. They are collectibles.
It's a Funko. It's a Hot Topic practically. They have shirts and like
Yeah,
all kinds of shit. Like they even have the wall of shirts. Like when you go into a Hot Topic, like they have that shit. I don't know. It has definitely changed quite a bit, but that is still a real bummer because.
Hey,
like-
I'm not gonna lie. When I was in Hawaii, I went to GameStop. They had some pretty cool shirts.
No, I'm not
on
saying
the
the shirts are
shelves
bad
there.
in and of themselves. I'm just, it's like, it's when I was working there for like 6 years, it was like, it seemed like every 6 months they were trying to like dip their toes into like a new thing. Like fucking, dude, I remember the big one for me was like, they were like, we're going to start taking trade-ins on cell phones. And I was like, oh, that sounds awful. I don't want to deal with that.
Fucking iPods and
You know what-
iPads and shit.
Do you know what they're doing now? I think they're just testing it. They're doing this fucking gift card program. You can bring unused gift cards to them. They will pay you for them, and then they're going to resell them.
Isn't that like Retail Me Not or something?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, it's so weird. Like they're just trying to do everything. Like it kind of reeks of desperation to me.
Wait, how much do they give you for like an eighth?
What?
What?
Oh. Oh my god.
I mean, they're getting into a couple
everything.
of different dipping their toes here and there.
I mean, hemp is not legal, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I just again.
All right,
I
we
just,
spent too much time on GameStop. Who the fuck cares?
I just worry about how this is going to affect Game Informer's subscription numbers. That may hurt them as a magazine, and that may put people out of a job.
I don't think they're that close to being in trouble. I mean,
Game Informer it still has like a digital version. I'm sure that they will still continue that.
I feel like
here's the thing, Chris Davis. Printing out magazines is tearing down the trees in the rainforest.
Yes.
So they can fuck off, and Game Informer as a physical media can die.
But when people go into the store and they're told about this program, how many are going to stay signed on?
Who the fuck cares?
well, I mean,
Kill
it
the
doesn't.
program.
Like the thing is, like there's
Kill
But this
GameStop.
But this program directly affects Game Informer subscription numbers.
Sure, it does, but like
People don't go and subscribe to Game Informer separately.
Correct.
They go into GameStop, they get the pro
But there's
membership,
enough-
and they get the subscription.
there
with
are
the
enough.
magazine.
I mean, the thing is, like, there's a lot of people that probably do it for the magazines that don't really care much about the discount necessarily.
And that was
So-
me for a good long time.
And there's probably a lot of people like that. I think it's too early to be worrying about Game Informer.
Magazine sucks.
I think it kind of sucks that fucking that I mean, like Brad said, like GameStop as a company is kind of shitty, but like the thought of them disappearing permanently.
I hate that, dude. Yeah, I want to
kinda
go
sucks.
in and when they start clearancing out all the last gen games and get a bunch of buy two get two frees. I mean, where else are you gonna go for that?
I
It's
don't know.
GameStop, man.
It's weird.
Or
Anyways,
eBay.
It's a $2 360 game.
that's
No,
the-
you don't. That
You just buy them in bulk on eBay.
no, it's not the same fucking thing.
It's not the same
All right,
fucking thing,
let's
I
move
know.
on.
That's what you get.
You're missing a vital part of the experience. All right, let's move on. That's it for news this week, guys. So let's go ahead and roll into community. Got some questions from our supporters on Patreon and Twitch. Am I
We
right?
sure do. No new patrons this week. That's okay.
Cool, I suppose.
Yeah, no, it's fine. That's fine. Don't worry, guys. We don't. This isn't.
It's
supporting us.
okay.
You can support us for as little as $1 a month.
That's an accurate statement. But we do have some questions from our current patrons.
Mm-hmm.
First one this week comes from Joshua. I'm currently playing through Final Fantasy VII on the Switch. I'm around 35 hours while nearly 100%ing the game and being able to access the final crater where Sephiroth is.
I would like clarification on what it means by 100% in that game.
Yeah.
That means Knights of the Round. That means doing all the side quests.
Ruby weapon, Emerald
everything.
weapon.
He's
God.
very efficient at the game.
Fucking Ruby weapon.
If the remake is going to be episodic, do you see them charging less for each episode, or are they going to add that much more content to warrant a $60 purchase for each episode?
Nope. It's
I
gonna
don't
be 60
see
bucks
how
flat
they
out.
can split up a JRPG into multiple segments and charge full price if there's only 10 hours or so of content. Most RPG fans, let alone Final Fantasy fans, wouldn't be too happy about that.
Fuck you. You don't 100% Final Fantasy the first time you played through it in 35
I don't
hours.
think this is the first time he's played through it.
Exactly. That's why the
He says
35
I'm
hours
remaking,
clock
replaying through.
I
is
played
horseshit. It's useless.
Yeah, I played Final Fantasy VII for closer to like 100 hours my first playthrough.
Yeah.
So, I mean, one, I think Chris Davis is right. I think this is absolutely going to be a series of games that are $60 a piece.
I don't believe that to be true at all.
You don't?
No.
We're going to find out here pretty soon.
I think they would be
Nolan.
idiotic to charge $180 for a fucking remake
Square Enix,
of a
though.
20-year-old.
It is a
Modern
remake of one
They
of the...
charge $21 for Final Fantasy 9 still.
Yes.
Square
Yes.
Enix overcharges.
I paid
Okay, Brett,
$21.99 for...
$21.99 is completely different from $180 fucking dollars.
No. His point is,
Yeah, but
I paid $21.99 for the exact same game I played
20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're talking about maybe charging $20 for the first episode of Final Fantasy VII, and considering the way it's looking, like the way it looks, the budget alone, I don't think they can afford to sell that thing at $20. I mean, it is one of the most popular
you know
RPGs
what?
ever
The
made.
Witcher, that game should have been $180. That game was big and it was fancy.
Listen,
and
I'm
like-
not saying it
like-
should be. I'm saying it's gonna be because it's Square fucking Enix.
No,
and it's
that's-
Final Fantasy VII. It's
And I
like,
guess it depends. I mean, how much? Let's say they do 3 episodes.
sounds like a
Are
hot
they-
dog bet.
10-hour games or are they 30-hour games?
Or 60 or 90 hours, you know?
You know,
You know what?
if it's a 30-hour game, of course they're gonna charge $60.
I will
for
say
it.
if it's not $60, it'll be at least $40.
It's not gonna be like an episode of Life is Strange where you play it for 5.5 hours.
I mean, and again, they've pitched this project as being a reimagining of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
So you're not going to go through the same
And also-
exact story beats, the same exact terrain.
And also, you got to think about
you could potentially for the first game explore all of Midgar.
I mean, the thing is like the
Who the fuck cares if you can explore all of Midgar? If Sony were to come out with a remake of Final Fantasy VII and charge $60 for each episode, adding up to 180, they would be fucking idiots.
but they did it with Final Fantasy 13. I mean, it's not a
no, those were 3 separate games.
but what we're talking about is we don't have a full picture yet. So like episode 1 of Final Fantasy VII remake could be the size of Final Fantasy 13, just
we'll see.
set in Midgar.
You give the example of like Witcher expansions, but that is not the norm. That's impressive. You see like fucking Batman DLC that they sell for $10 and it's like 2.5 hours long. In that case, like
The number of hours you play a game does not rarely has any impact on the actual price of the game.
not
like-
even just hours. Like it's not
Resident
even
Evil
that
2
impressive.
remake was a complete reimagining of Resident Evil 2, and that was a full $60 game. But you can finish that game in probably 10 hours.
You can finish that in a good 3 or 4.
I don't know.
We-
This is a weird
Let's
thing.
have that conversation after E3.
This is
'cause
a
who
very-
knows? No one even knows what the shit's gonna be. Really, people are saying, "Oh, they think the first game is just gonna be Midgar." Like, what does that mean?
I think that would be stupid.
you were in Midgar for 8 hours, 6 hours.
I think
5
the only
hours.
way they could justify charging less than $60 is if it is only Midgar.
That's such a small part of that game.
But that's if you're supposing the game just takes place in Sector 7 and Sector 6.
I mean, who the fuck knows? This is one of those situations we're going to find out a lot about it next month because it's going to be a big thing at E3. So, we will circle back around and talk about it.
Next question from Mr. Greentoes. With the recent news of Sony showcasing off their PS4 versus their next-gen console, displaying a much faster loading times and such, what other features would you hope or expect to be part of the next-gen console in order to sell you on buying it? It being a lot fucking quieter.
Yes, that is
If
a
they can
big
show
one.
off, show me a PS5 next to a PS4 with some mics next to them with the fucking noise. Because holy shit, my PS4 is so fucking loud.
Dude, yeah, that would be like
fucking jet engine.
that's a bullet point.
Yes.
Yeah, for
if
sure.
they're like, our fucking machine only runs at 20 decibels. Sold.
Yep.
Say, next big point, fucking install times.
Yeah.
They have to nerf that severely.
Well,
But
no,
here's the thing,
If
you play-
they're going to have SSDs like by default on the system itself, I think install times will
I
definitely
will
come
also
down.
say this: you play mostly on Xbox when you play in console, right?
I don't play a whole lot of console anymore.
But when you do, you play mostly Xbox.
sure.
So, one thing I have noticed, because Robin plays mostly on Xbox, I play mostly on PS4. When I pop a brand new game in, I'm maybe waiting 10 minutes for everything to install and be ready so I can open it and go. On the Xbox, it's like sometimes it's like an hour before you can even boot the game up and play it.
Red
That's
Dead
crazy
2 took longer to download, or no, took longer to install than to download for me. So I know.
It's kind. I don't get why the Xbox infrastructure is. I mean, I just don't know the hardware. I'm not into that, but it seems strange to me that the PlayStation is so much faster at it. But yeah, I feel like it
But
should
just
be.
thinking about like not just the game installs, but the patch installs you have to go through.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, patch install like the reason rest mode. Part of the reason rest mode exists on the PS4 is that you can, if you leave it on rest mode, it'll download and install. I mean, not install, but it'll download patches so that when you boot it up, it just installs it, and that's that is the faster of the two processes most of the time.
I mean, I would prefer if it downloaded and installed.
Maybe. I mean, I would like to see them take that whole category of features, take that further.
I want a better UI.
Yeah. Wait, are we talking about specifically on
PS4?
PS4?
Yeah. What do they call this new one? The PS4.
Oh, I don't even
It's
know.
always been
Bring
called
the
cross-media.
crossbar back.
Cross Media Bar was PS3.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was PS3.
PS4 was
And
not
Vita.
called Cross Media
But
Bar.
I feel like it's still kind of an
it's a
evolution
similar
of the same
interface,
thing.
Yes, but I still don't love it. It's okay, but
It's still a shit ton better than the Xbox. I can't.
Yes, I agree it is better than the Xbox.
I have had an Xbox One since like the second year it came out. I still I don't play it as often as some people, but I still haven't figured out how to navigate that. I'm asking Robin on a constant basis how to find shit on my Xbox.
We had
when
an
I boot it
intern
up.
because our interns at my work just started, And so we had an event in the game room the other day, and we had an Xbox One in there. And someone was like, "Hey, can we pull up like some music on the Xbox?" And I was like, "Sure." I had no idea what the fuck I was doing on that thing.
It is so.
I was
I missed
"Oh
the
my
blades."
God.
Yeah, the
Like-
blades were like kind of perfect. For
At
what
least they
were.
made sense.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The real problem with Microsoft is that they keep feeling like they have to keep reinventing that fucking interface. And it's
I
not
think they need it.
necessary.
I think they need to keep reinventing it until they find one that's simpler and that works. I feel like if the PS5 comes out and it's just a sleeker, more streamlined version of what we have on the PS4, I would be okay with it. Mm-hmm. If the Xbox PlayStation 6 comes out,
Yeah.
and the dashboard is like still just a more clusterfucky version of what we have now,
It won't be. They get so
Nah.
much criticism.
Yeah, no.
They're
they
gonna
do.
do something. I
it,
think,
it needs to
pretty
be.
sleek
It
and-
needs to be dramatic.
I think it will.
I think so.
Yeah.
It was all
Alright.
fuck because of Kinect.
There was one time I downloaded what was it? I installed the Rare Replay collection,
Yeah.
and it took me like 2 solid minutes to find out where
Where it was.
like where it
Not
was.
just
and how to
that, but
open it.
like you start hitting like B to like back out of things, and it'll start launching into things.
What?
Like it's weird. Like the order of operation for like what the buttons do is strange.
Bless you. You want to talk about features? Maybe something a more integrated or more like a built-in integration of VR without having to have all these like exterior shit. Have the tech. Like
Do you
the
think
hardware.
they would have multiple SKUs? A
Probably.
SKU without VR and a SKU with
that
VR
would be cool.
built into
I
the
would
system?
pay. I would pay money to have it built into the fucking hardware.
That would be
You
interesting.
just put your face right up to the console.
No, it's just more like you have all these fucking plugs. If I can just take the VR headset and plug it directly into the PS4,
It'd be like plugging in a USB cable. Boom! I'm in.
Oh shit, Nick, that's a good idea.
Well, it's like what happened with the Pro, isn't it? With the PSVR headset.
Oh,
Where you didn't need to have the box.
oh, you still need the box.
still need the box.
You still need the box? Okay.
I know what you're thinking. I can't remember what specifically you're talking about, but it's in
I
my
think that
brain
was the
somewhere.
concept we had talked about when we first heard about the Pro.
No, well,
coming
when
out,
they
or
released the second version of the VR headset, there was something that they
the
did.
way they phrased what the hardware itself, I think we thought that was going to be the case, but that wasn't.
I feel like there was a brick that was originally part of the
Yeah.
thing that is now built into the.
Well, we don't.
I don't know what it
Anyways,
was.
Let's move on.
They did something.
Yes,
It is better because I
think-
have the new version of the VR
I think
headset.
it would
and
be.
is
I think it
better.
would be a great idea to have a SKU where the VR software is built in. Or
Like
the
even if
hardware is
even if
built
the
into.
even if the system itself doesn't come with the headset, but just has
the
has the hardware to run it built into
you
it,
can
so that
buy
all
the
you got to do
system.
is buy the headset and
Or
plug it
the
in like a
headset,
USB
rather.
cable. Boom, that would be incredible.
And you know what you could do with that? You could create a box that plugs into the system. Like you can have 2 headsets. You and Robin sitting on the couch playing VR together.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be cool, but it would be an fucking expensive console.
like Demolition Man.
Why?
You can have VR.
That's what I'm saying.
headset
The system itself renders the VR, and then if you want a second one, you have to buy the additional box to split out the render.
Yeah.
And then you could have 2 people playing it. That's one of those things where it always sucks when like I'm playing a game and then like Bernadette's watching me on like the TV, and you don't really get the same experience. It's
Yeah.
not at all.
I do hope that VR is still a major
I think it will be.
component of.
All right, let's
next
move on.
gen.
Last question from our patrons from Zero Skies. What is your dream announcement for this year's E3? Something that has had no hints of and completely out of nowhere.
I mean, honestly, it would.
Days Gone 2.
No, I was gonna say a return to Silent, like bring Silent Hill back in some form, but like, you know,
I'd be so suspect of like.
I mean, I would be absolutely suspect too. I'd be hesitant to let them, have my heart again.
For me, Final Fantasy Tactics 2, Yasumi Matsuno, cool new art style. Let's do it.
I mean, I can start naming things like fucking Dino Crisis, Parasite Eve, like
I mean, Dino Crisis would be another one for me. The only reason I didn't mention
heard
it
a
is because
rumor
there's been so much
Dino
talk
Crisis.
about it possibly being a thing. That's also a thing that was in the news. Capcom has reiterated their commitment to the RE7 engine. They said they have multiple
least-
projects that they're
yeah,
going to
at
be
least
working
2
on
or
with
3.
it.
Wasn't there a Dino Crisis rumor?
I mean, there's been rumors for years, but whatever.
Yeah. Or Onimusha, one of those with the new engine.
Onimusha, Lost Odyssey 2, like
At this point, I'm not ready for Onimusha.
Lost Odyssey 2 is an answer. That is an answer.
that is there's no hope for that.
That is a
Uncharted 5. I'd be down.
I feel like Lost Odyssey 2 is a perfect thing for Microsoft to try to bankroll get people like really hyped, you know?
Another. Oh, I just had one on the tip of my tongue. And I lost
How about a
What did you say your answer was, Brad?
Final Fantasy Tactics 2?
Elite Beat Agents on the Switch.
Mega Man Legends 3.
How would that work?
Just use your finger.
I still can't believe the Switch doesn't have a stylus.
Because it's a capacitive touchscreen.
Yeah, the type
even
of
those
touch.
even stylized.
Well, they would have to change it a little bit, but it's still like a nice rhythm game.
Yeah, no,
that's like that on the Switch.
For sure. You know, there are rhythm games on the Switch that are
some,
kind of like the tapping as the circle closes type games. But
yeah. All right. That's all I can think of. Let's move on to some questions.
Dragon's Dogma.
Tekken Cross Street Fighter.
Dragon's Dogma would be good too. Oh goddamn, Dragon's Dogma 3.
Any fucking.
The only reason I think it's not going to happen is because of Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably starting. Like they're probably stoking the fires for that. I just don't think we're going to see it right now.
Yeah. Sorry. Dragon's Dogma 2.
He just started like salivating, just like.
The reason I said 3 was I was thinking about Dragon's Dogma Online. So yeah.
Talking about some fire game developed by Bethesda.
Okay. Some questions from our supporters on Twitch. First question from Thorax. EA and Epic Games decide to follow the Pokemon Company's lead and try to improve their public image. What would be a good start?
Wait, what did the Pokemon Company do to try to improve their public image?
Yeah.
I'm having trouble seeing the connection.
I don't get it.
I don't know
Not
if Thorax
make Pokemon fight each other? I don't know.
Oh, maybe
is that what he's referring to?
Maybe that is what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But how does that connect to the Epic Games Store?
Well, the only thing I know about the Epic Games Store now is if you download too many games fast, your account gets banned.
Oh my god!
Your bank, your fucking bank account.
I have a quick question with the Epic Games Store because I've never used it before. So I think did somebody say that there's not a shopping cart, so you have to buy courses, you have to buy games individually?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What?
That's what they're saying. If you buy too many at a time, you can't because you can't just add 5 to your cart. And
Nick,
then
it's
check out.
only been 14 years in Steam. You can't expect every digital platform to have a fucking shopping cart.
I feel like what kind of shopping interface doesn't have that? Sorry. Anyways, the question is how would Epic, is it specifically Epic Game Store or?
EA and Epic Games?
EA, all they have to do is stop fucking putting terrible projects on studios and stop closing fucking developers.
They need to stop making developers. They need to stop forcing developers to make Destiny likes. Or MMOs. They just
rushing fucking Star Wars.
They just need to be thankful that they have companies like BioWare. They need to be thankful that they have Star Wars as a property, and they need to just like let these creators take these ideas and run with them instead of thinking that the only way they're going to make money is by cranking out these multiplayer Destiny likes. Like it doesn't need. Not everything needs to be a Destiny like. Every single day, I feel more and more thankful that we even got Mirror's Edge 2 in the form that it's in.
And you know what? Stop fucking.
It's a miracle.
Stop fucking iterating your games, especially your fucking sports titles. Take a fucking year off from Madden. Like, release the next season as DLC.
But
let your team take 2 years to develop a new way to play Madden.
I don't give two shits.
But fucking FIFA or NBA.
But I know.
Or
But those sports
there's
games.
people that do.
But
I
those
know,
sports
people
trust
that
me,
do.
I understand there are plenty of people that do.
But those
I
sports
don't
games,
get those people.
Those sports games bankroll those projects that we
They
do
do.
want from them.
Those sports games make them a decent amount of money.
I would say fuck it. The studios that make the sports games, they're never going to branch out and make like an RPG. They make sports games.
No.
Let them keep making sports games.
Let them keep making sports games.
Look at you.
But
you're so anti-sports game people. You know, those people are talented developers.
I didn't say
too.
they're not. I'm just saying.
Maybe they're going to make the next Silent Hill game.
When was the last
the
time you
Madden
saw
thing.
the developers of Madden or NCAA branch out and make an RPG or an action
It
game?
happens, and you'd be surprised how like much a modern sports game is an RPG.
Sure. I'm not trying to poo-poo sports games. I'm just saying the studios that make sports games make sports games. Technology says Silent Hill 2K20. Fuck off. Fuck off.
It does actually happen, I think.
I mean, it might, but like those games bankroll they're the reasons why
I understand that they market to the smelly jellies of the world, but I'm just saying,
Oh my god!
like,
Shots fired.
take a year off, download have the next year be like DLC for like $20. Let these developers try something new with those engines.
Assuming they want to.
Because I don't want to play a sports game that plays exactly like the sports game that came out 5 years previous.
I mean, here's the thing: like,
What do we?
Cool things
this
could
is-
happen.
Sports games is not a topic of conversation. Any of us
all right,
No.
should be having.
I think we've made ourselves clear about
In
how
this
EA
room.
could improve it.
Yeah.
How could the Epic Game Store improve
Not
their
Epic Game Store, just
Sorry,
Epic
smelly.
Games.
Oh, Epic Games.
Epic Games.
Oh
in
God.
general.
Maybe reaffirm to people that they care about something other than Fortnite now. I mean, that's great.
Fortnite and their engine. That's about
Fortnite
it.
is huge, and I get it. You could never let that go. That's fine. Unreal Engine is huge. Like it's used everywhere. But like show us that you can do other things too. Like show us that you care about other things. Make a new IP. Make a new,
No,
you know.
don't make a new IP.
Like there was a time when like they made Gears of War and
you know what they need to do? Shadow Complex 2.
or that. Or that.
I never
Wasn't
want to
that-
hear
wasn't that
new.
Chair,
It
though?
was Chair, but like Epic Games like owns it now.
The thing is,
Oh.
when you're fantasizing and dreaming about like something that's coming out, like a new
soon as
game,
Chair sold
you're never
out.
dreaming of a new IP because you can't like really picture that in
Yeah.
your mind. You're dreaming of like maybe like the perfect license game, right?
Yeah.
Like that Song of Ice and Fire game. You
Yeah.
know? That's what you're dreaming of because it's an IP you already love and a developer you already love. You want that marriage. I never want to hear. New IPs are nice when I see them and they're impressive looking, but I never really want someone to do a new IP. Does that make any sense?
It's new IPs are scary.
Yeah, they're scary.
Yeah,
They're scary because they could come out and then be shit.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, I mean,
but Sony has proven many times
it
over
could
the
just
past
be
few
something I
years.
don't like. Like, what if the Cyberpunk game comes out and I don't fall in love with the world or the characters? You know, that sucks.
yes,
Yeah.
that would suck. All right,
But-
let's move on. We got more questions to get to.
Oh, bring back Mass Effect to make it good, EA.
And maybe Dead Space.
They did that.
And-
Remember,
oh.
you love that last.
Did I love it, Brad? Did I
You
love
like
Andromeda?
it a lot.
Way to be hyperbolic.
Next question from Tack. If there's going to be a Twisted Metal TV series, Sweet Tooth has to be involved. Who should play him, and who has historically been
Josh
the best
Brolin.
clown in media?
Josh Brolin.
Best clown in media. Did you know on that episode of Seinfeld where George goes to that little kid's birthday party and someone yells fire? Or he sees smoke and he starts pushing everybody out of the way?
Yeah.
The clown was Jon Favreau.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
The clown.
Well,
Clown.
he was a pretty good clown.
Sorry.
You're hung
Sweet
up on some
Tooth.
clown from the 60s, man.
Sweet Tooth should be played by Carrot Top.
Oh god,
No.
dude, Carrot Top is like.
He's jacked.
So
he
I
should play Sweet
so I
Tooth.
work with someone who the other day was telling me that he
Who's Carrot Top?
no, but he went to a Carrot Top used to go to his gym when he lived somewhere else. I forgot where it was.
Yeah.
And he said that apparently Carrot Top skips leg day,
What?
or at least when he saw him, he was like super jacked, but he had like super skinny legs.
Okay. You know, hey,
Just saying, I've heard that on the grapevine.
That's why they call him Carrot Top, not Carrot Bottom.
There we go.
Yeah.
I think
That joke writes itself.
a good clown would be.
Does it have to be like an actual clown, or can it be like a scary clown?
I mean,
I mean,
Sweet
he-
Tooth.
he-
It's supposed to be a scary
clown.
clown. It's Sweet Tooth.
Do you know who Sweet Tooth is?
Yeah, of course. No, but I'm saying he just said clown. Like who's been the
Also,
best
to
clown?
many people, scary and clown they go together.
I mean, I honestly think the recent iteration of Pennywise in the It remake was like super fantastic.
Yeah, but that's definitely not a Sweet Toothy clown.
Sure.
Sweet Tooth has to be a serial killer.
Yeah.
I don't.
Wait, well, are we thinking about two different questions? Because the first question was who would play Sweet Tooth. The second question was who's been the best clown in media.
Correct.
Yeah,
There's two
two.
questions there.
The best clown, and I was saying the new Pennywise has been one of my favorite clowns in
I was
media.
going to say the best clown was Rodney Dangerfield
Or just Tim Curry, right?
as it, or not it.
Pennywise.
Pennywise.
Yeah.
I think the new Pennywise is better than Tim Curry's, but that's just
Blasphemy.
Willem Dafoe
in what?
as Sweet Tooth.
He's saying as Sweet
Oh,
Tooth. I could see that.
I could see that.
yeah.
Or you could just
I would
I
pay
feel
to
like it's
watch
gonna be
that.
Josh Brolin because he's
I
just getting
think-
all the villain parts now.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh well,
Okay.
But he's dead.
what?
Or am I thinking the wrong
You're
person?
Don't think that's true.
Oh my
Chris.
god! The funny thing is, like, that was like so I follow Vincent D'Onofrio on Twitter, and that was like a thing. Like, somebody said that he was dead. They're like, I thought he died, and like
Who's
Vincent
dead?
D'Onofrio responded to it. And he's like, No, I'm very much
Vincent
still alive.
Price?
He's played some fucked up characters. I think he could be a good sweet
who
tooth.
that is not Vincent D'Onofrio is dead. I'm confused.
Who was the main villain of Mission Impossible 3?
Philip
Philip Seymour
Hoffman.
Hoffman.
Phil
Hoffman.
Seymour. Sorry.
He would be
Wow.
a great.
That's what I
was thinking.
He would probably be a great.
He
Sweet
could be a
Tooth.
great anything. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
he was an amazing actor.
Okay.
He could be a great Geralt of Rivia.
Yeah. Yes.
I can see it.
You know, probably better than that fucking Superman. Whatever.
All right, let's move on.
That is a weird casting choice.
Also,
I'll be
Mark
honest.
Hamill is probably one of the best clowns.
Final question this
Oh,
week
yeah,
from
yeah.
Beck. Are there any features that existed in previous game consoles or handhelds that you'd like to see come back in next generation consoles?
Ooh.
I'd like I want a DS with a non-capacitive touchscreen and a stylus that just feels like proper dual screen with a proper touchscreen, because there's a certain kind of game that went away, like Elite Beat Agents, like those touchscreen Zelda games which had unique controls, like Kirby's Canvas Curse, that sort of thing. They tried to do that on the Wii. Well, the Wii U did have a non-capacitive touchscreen,
Correct,
and it
it
kind of
did.
worked, but like the dual screen thing didn't work. There's a certain type of game that went away, and I kind of want that to come back, but you can't really do that on a Switch screen.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad.
I'd want a system that, and this is kind of something that's been talked about recently, a system that really focuses a lot on backwards compatibility.
You mean with?
I don't see that happening. Just because of the way media is working now,
Especially with
Yeah.
Sony, like, because they went from the PSP that used UMDs to the Vita, which used dedicated cartridges. They've
and that's the
jumped
thing with like
around.
Switch. I mean, they have their dedicated
I
cartridges.
think Nintendo's
and-
been pretty good at it with their DS line. Like, all of their DS, like their 3DS plays DS games and all that jazz. But,
Yeah.
and up until the 3DS, you could play Game Boy Advance games.
Everything on
right?
every DS.
Yeah.
Yes, you could play Game Boy Advance games on.
Except the DSi.
I would like to see
Which-
more
Oh,
handhelds.
yeah.
I had a DS.
I would like to see more handhelds that support, like, is it the Switch that does this? Where like you only have to, or no, it was a 3DS or DS, where you could have one cartridge that would play you could play multiplayer with like multiple people
Correct.
with just one cartridge.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Let's back up. PS5. Please, Sony, for the love of God, let me track my playtime in games.
Oh,
Like, holy shit. How is it 2019 and I still can't do that?
Yeah.
it seems
come on.
They seem to leave it up to the develop from a developer, like from game to game. It's
Yeah.
like if they put that feature into their game, great, but you can't do it from the actual
Well, I mean, it just
console itself.
the PS4 came out in
I would like to see a
2014.
profile on my PlayStation that I can see how many hours I've played of a game.
Aside from that weird survey that we did at the end of the year that just told us,
Yeah,
It's
it's like
the-
you
it's the
played
kind of
1,000
thing-
hours of games.
It's the kind of thing that just might be like hard to retroactively add, but
Correct.
I bet that the PS5 will probably have that.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Tack brings up a good point. Raptor could kind of do that, but then that company like went poo poo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't exist anymore.
But anyway,
Or going beyond that, if you want to take that one step further, have a game that tracks your progress in something and then allows you to compare it to other people who are in the exact same spot as where you are on the same console. So you don't have to go look up a YouTube video or thing like that.
oh, I can see them kind of going.
So if you
that.
want to see how somebody is fighting a boss, that you're
I
fighting.
mean, that
right
seems
now,
to be like what they're
that's
talking about
Stadia.
Google Stadia
like
stuff.
Stadia
And,
is doing something like
you know,
that.
now that we're seeing Microsoft,
Well,
and
that's with save state sharing. I'm talking about like people.
but
offhanded.
like at any, it's with the Stadia they were talking about. At any moment in a game, you can literally pause it and actually pull up, like do a search on YouTube that would like that would pull up.
and play exactly what they're
Yeah,
playing at
correct.
that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, Stadia. Like imagine, right? Like you're watching a DSP video and he's like, "This is bullshit. This is cheap." And then you like, "Actually, I can do it." And you just like still the save state and you upload it and put it as a reply to his video. That'd be
That's the
sick.
fucking future, Brad. You
Yeah.
just described
Yeah.
it.
It's the future.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
A whole new generation of douchebags.
There's
So
always.
I'm still trying to think if there's anything that's kind of gone the way
I mean,
of the
handhelds
dodo.
just aren't really a big thing right now. I mean, I don't even know if it's realistic to expect much from handhelds.
The question wasn't necessarily about handhelds. It's just consoles in general or handhelds.
Yeah.
That Anything that no longer a thing that we wish they brought back. I wish you could still rotate the PlayStation logo. That was always cool. Man, I can't think of anything.
Well, it sounds like we've answered the question then.
But yeah. So that's all the questions from our patrons and our supporters on Twitch. Every week we post
All
a
of whom
thread
we
on
appreciate.
patreon.com/4player, where if you donate at least $1 to our Patreon, you can ask us any question you want. And if you are a supporter on Twitch, we have a channel and our Discord at discord.gg/4player, the supporters channel, where you can ask us questions for the show.
Yep. I usually just recommend pinging me or Nolan on the day of the show. That way we know to look in there and find your questions. Again, I do want to reiterate, we'll start up doing the supporter spotlight next show, but we'll be doing it the way I mentioned at the start of the show, where we'll put the question out there. So if you're a supporter, I believe at the $3 tier or higher, I want to say, then you can answer these questions, and we'll read your responses on the show and react to them and talk about them, and we'll try and highlight at least one every week. So everybody will have many more opportunities to have their voice heard and be a part of the show. So with that said, time to wrap it up. 4-player minute. Brad,
Yes.
start us off.
Okay, so 4-player minutes, time to show where we share our hype, sweat, fuck you, and thank you of the week.
That is correct, yes.
My hype for this week is for Mountain Blade. I was playing some Mountain Blade Clash of Kings on my stream the other day, and someone popped in the chat, and they're like, "Hey, Brad, why are you playing Clash of Kings? You should be playing A World of Ice and Fire." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, yeah, there's like a few years ago, this other Song of Ice and Fire mod came out for Mountain Blade Warband, and people like that one way more. And I'm like, what? So I downloaded that and I installed that, and there's a new Mountain Blade Song of Ice and Fire mod, and I'm excited to try it out. So that's my hype for this week, even though I've been having a tough time. That's a monster of a game, and you can forget a lot. You can get real rusty at it, and I've been struggling, but I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get back to it.
Cool.
Sir Braddard Umber. That's the name of my character right now. Sir Braddard Hunter. My sweat for this week goes to that Epic Games sale on the Epic Games Store. Only because there's actually some pretty good deals. And I just bought, Druidstone and the Castlevania collection. I kind of don't have the money to spend, but there's a lot of good deals, and I'm looking to spend some coin.
Like what you got?
Just not too fast. Like that John Wick game.
That's
gonna be
John Wick.
It's gonna be $20. It's gonna be $20.
Mm-hmm.
It's not out yet on the Epic Game Store. You can go buy right now for $8.
Damn.
$7.99. Also, because most of the stuff now, there are some developers kind of taking their games now because they don't want it to be part of the sale, because Epic Game is sort of like doing across the board like minus $10 on like everything pretty much. So like you can pre-order like After Party, which is the new game from the people that made Oxenfree, but it's like you're out drinking the devil, and that game looks really cool. You can buy it for $10. Because it's like $10 off, and you see all these fucking games, and it's like, I'm gonna spend some fucking money. Like Hades, which you can buy that for like $10.
That's still in beta, isn't it? Or alpha?
Early access, yeah.
They're running their first mega sale, and they don't have a shopping cart.
That's
Outward game.
No.
That like Eurojank game that's like $40 everywhere. They're selling it for like $20. I'm really tempted, but then again, it's the Epic Games Store, and that whole program is kind of, if you want to buy stuff, you got to buy it all separately. There's no like forums. I was trying to look at screenshots for a game, and I couldn't even like blow them up or like figure out how to like make them bigger. And I'm like, is there no functionality to make the screenshot bigger?
Guess not.
Yeah. So yeah, my sweat is that they might have me, man, because there's some good deals. That's how you do it. You get people in with deals. My fuck you for this week goes to classic Castlevania.
Dude, I was watching you play some of that last night, Brad. That was hard to watch.
No matter how much, I love Castlevania, but my love started with Symphony of the Night. And, I've always wanted to love classic Castlevania, but I've never really truly loved it. And it's so frustrating and hard to go back to. My God. Fuck you, classic Castlevania. Bloodlines was one that I was excited to pick up and play, but that game has continues. Like fucking continues? Are you kidding me? You run out of continues, you start the game over?
What?
That's crazy.
That sort of thing. I mean,
That's archaic.
There's like passwords, but
That's arcadic.
yeah. Oh fuck.
God damn it, Nolan. God damn it, Nolan.
Well, it's just
So many dad jokes.
It's just old. My thank you for the week goes to the daytime people. I've been during Henry naps. We don't know how long they're gonna last, but I've been on weekends, so I've been home during the week. This month, I've been occasionally popping on for some short daytime streams. So thanks to all the Brits and Europeans and the Brits and the Europeans that from across the pond who are showing up to kind of watch me play during the day, even though they're just as mean about me playing Slay the Spire as anybody else. Glad there's someone that's showing up supporting my short little daytime streams. So thank you guys.
Cool. Nolan?
Cool. My 4-player minute starts now. My hype is for these Sony shows / movies. Dude, I'm excited. I'm excited for the potential there. I could be 100% let down, but I'm excited to see them understanding that via, Into the Spider-Verse and the MCU and seeing all these things doing really well, that there's potential that there are plenty of people out there who want to consume this media. And my hopes are that they get good writers and directors, not
creative visionaries.
Yeah, not D&D. To write some good stuff and some good content and create some good shows and movies. I'm looking forward to it. My sweat goes to kind of my gaming habits as of the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
I've just been playing some old shit, Final Fantasy X and like Binding of Isaac, and I booted up Rage 2 the other day, and I was like, I don't want to play this right now.
You're having a midlife gaming crisis.
I'm having a mid-year gaming crisis.
Mid-year gaming
It
crisis.
happens.
So even the mid-year?
Maybe nothing's speaking
It's
to you.
the end of May. How is it not mid-year?
5th month of the year, not 6th.
There are
month,
12
7th
months in the year, Chris Davis.
I know.
We're on month
So
5.
is mid-year literally only the 30th of July or
Yes,
June?
Nolan. Stay
Is
on
nothing
track.
else considered mid-month or mid-year? Jesus. My fuck you goes to Chris Davis.
You can't modify like that.
My fuck you goes to Final Fantasy X. Dude, holy shit. I forgot how, linear that game is. It is linear as fuck.
It's a very different approach to its story.
Still, Final Fantasy 13 makes it feel open world.
Man, I remember playing through half of that game, waiting for the globe-trotting stuff to pop up from the previous games.
Nope.
Dude, you don't
world
get
map
the
in that game-
globe-trotting stuff until right before the end of the game.
Yeah.
And as soon as you do, and since I'm playing the
But God-
HD remake, so now it's now when you travel around, there's the fucking dark aeons everywhere. And so I'm trapped going here and there because these people are I'm gonna fight you, and I have to fight a fucking Valfor that every single even just little attack does 9,999 damage. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Wait, you have to play?
To get to certain areas, they are blocked off now by these dark aeons, and that wasn't in the original game. It's something that they added in the international version, which is what's in the HD
Interesting.
remake. Yeah,
It is linear, but all the
what?
places you go to in that game are so memorable and
I guess.
full of great music.
I don't remember
and-
them.
I do, you bitch.
You remember the Comlands? How big it is?
Yes.
That thing's this fucking big,
I know.
Nick. It's the size of a silver dollar pancake, and you're in and out of that place in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I
It's a
remember
big
spending
silver dollar pancake.
hours there when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was a
Yeah.
fucking idiot.
You go off to the side and fight that other summon lady.
Yeah.
And you're done.
That's it.
I
There's
remember
nothing
that.
there.
Hey, man.
You
That's
do a
still,
chocobo race.
I
there
still
later.
stand by
Fuck that
that as
joke.
one
The
of my
balloon thing.
favorite games of all time.
So I did. There's
like it.
there's a mod on PC that sets the clock on that to 0.
Yeah,
And thank God I
It's
had
such
that
bullshit,
because that
man.
race was fucking horrible.
It's horseshit.
Seagulls coming out of nowhere.
How much Blitzball have you been doing?
I've only played.
is there a
few
mod that
rounds.
lets you do the Lulu Thunder Plane?
Oh
Like,
no,
God.
there is not. Yes, fuck that. I'm not
did
gonna
that.
do it.
I did that.
I did it when I was younger. I'm not.
and
gonna
I
do
don't
it
know
now.
why.
I don't have the fucking time for
Well,
that. now.
I wanted that ultimate
But my
weapon.
thank you is going to go to Game of Thrones. I'm thankful that it's over. We will stop hearing people bitch about it. We will stop hearing people be excited about it. We'll just stop hearing people talk about it.
The
Well,
memes.
Nope.
Slowly. It'll
Yes,
slowly drop off.
I know
yes.
it's not going to happen today, but over the next few weeks and months, it'll start to peter out. And Brad, the memes were the reason I was still watching the show.
And then they'll start teasing
There
the
will be
spin-offs.
more memes.
Hey, the spin-offs have a lot of potential, man.
I mean,
All right, that's
don't
it.
say that yet. But yeah.
I mean, potential is just...
Brad,
is-
everything has potential.
everything has potential, Brad.
well, then that word is useless.
Yes.
Well, it could be the potential to be bad.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Well, my 4-player minute starts now. My first hype is for E3. It's 20 days away, gentlemen. And I don't know about anybody else's hype boner, but mine is rock hard right now. I'm thinking about so many games we're going to get to see, so many things that
What did we
we're gonna
talk about?
learn about.
What do we talk about, Chris Davis? Hope is...
You say Poison.
No, Crispy said that, but
He's
he's right.
excited, he's
He's
excited
right.
to go to E3 and play
I'm
like
excited to play
2 things.
What's that?
No, I'm saying you don't play enough stuff at E3.
No, I don't. I really don't.
Well,
I try every year. I try to play a little bit more.
Chris
but
Davis,
it never
Chris
happens.
Davis, you and I are the only people going this year.
Yes,
If you go and don't play anything,
I will play things. I promise you.
I can't carry this whole thing. God damn it.
It doesn't help that you hate indie games, Chris Davis,
Wow.
because there's a lot of cool indie games at E3.
Shots fired. I'll do my best.
Every year I go through the
I'll do my
I'm
best.
indie
kidding.
E3 is...
sir. Wow.
Sorry, continue.
My second hype is for Metro Exodus because they recently announced what's going to be coming in their Season Pass thing. And Season Pass might be a little bit of a wrong term to use because the first bit of content is a linear level based on near the end of the game that's going to start the kernel, and it's going to be coming out this summer. But then next year...
Which is supposed to be more in line with like what Metro...
Classic Metro.
Yeah.
Yeah. But next year they're going to be releasing another level that's like epilogue content
That's more
based
of,
on
like,
another character.
And it's more of an open world.
And it's an
kinda-
open world level.
Yeah.
And that sounds fucking exciting because you
Hey,
go to
those open worlds are
Vladivostok.
pretty cool. I spent a good 10 hours at each one of those open world areas.
Yeah, it's and that level's about Sam, one of your Spartan buddies, who's trying to get back to the States, and he goes
The
travels
United States?
Yes,
Oh,
so he
interesting.
travels to Vladivostok, where it's like a flooded out harbor, and there's like new creatures and all sorts of stuff. So that sounds like
You know what?
fucking-
Metro Exodus was pretty dope.
It was really fucking dope, man. My third hype, I would say, is for projects I can't actually talk to the community about, but y'all might know about. Let's just say the next few weeks, y'all are going to see some things I've been working on that
Oh, I know what you're
I
talking
think
about.
y'all will be a little bit excited about.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Just don't watch them while you're at work.
Just,
just don't open them at work.
Yeah,
for the love
promise
of
you.
God.
I mean,
I
yeah, you
definitely
might
have
get,
no idea what
so-
he's talking
I think we'll talk about it later.
And my thank you this week goes to Smelly Jelly for forgiving me for that jab I made earlier about Madden. It was all in good jest, my friend.
made-
What was the joke? That he likes sports games?
That is pretty much the...
I don't think that was a very good jab.
You don't know Smelly when it comes to the...
Yeah, he's not into boxing games.
He's not into
sports
Madden.
games.
He's really into Madden, but he doesn't like to admit he's into Madden.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
Sorry, Smelly.
Well, wait. The cat's out of the bag now.
Now people know he's a sporto.
All right, my
How
four-player minute starts now. I've got 3 hypes and a sweat. My first hype, strangely enough, I'm starting to get a little hyped for... I almost feel guilty about this. A little hyped for Borderlands because
Ooh.
Robin started playing Borderlands.
Fool!
Didn't I say that
He's
Borderlands
buying it.
was one of
He's
those
buying
games
it.
that well, maybe never mind. Keep going.
Why would you think I wouldn't be excited for Borderlands?
No.
Robin started playing Borderlands 2 this past weekend, which is a game I didn't finish when I first
Pitchford's
played
got
it.
his fangs in you. He's
I
warping your mind.
You know what? I hate that Randy Pitchford's involved in Borderlands. 'Cause I think Borderlands is a lot bigger than Randy Pitchford, and Borderlands has a lot of potential. I like the world. I like the guns. I like the atmosphere. I like the music. I've always liked Borderlands as a package. So I'm trying to forget about Randy Pitchford and just remember there's a lot of other people that worked in that game. And I was watching her play Borderlands 2 for a while, and I was like, God, I kind of got the itch. I'm not going to play Borderlands 1 or 2 before 3 comes out, but it just kind of started to get me excited for Borderlands 3.
Maybe this is what I meant. It's like classic Nick to say, quote unquote, you know what? I'm actually starting to get excited about this, about X. Like, you know, I'm actually starting to get a little excited about Days Gone. You know, when it's a game, just own it, Nick. You know you're excited. Just own it. You don't have to go, I'm actually starting. Come on, man.
Well,
Borderlands was your game of the year.
It was, and what I'm saying is, I didn't expect. Up until this point, I didn't really expect to be excited for it, but I'm actually starting to get excited.
Do you already have it pre-ordered?
No,
Oh, I guess it doesn't matter, right? Because they don't do the 20% off.
They don't.
anymore.
Nope.
Damn it!
I still buy almost all my games through Amazon anyways,
Oh.
just for the convenience factor, and you do get the $10 credits.
It was also in the news, but Gearbox pulled Borderlands 3 from Epic pre-orders.
Mm-hmm.
You can't order it on Epic's platform, despite it being exclusive to that platform.
That's bizarre.
Wait, no, that's because of the sale.
That might have been it, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing that because they didn't know about it. And all of a sudden, all their games
ambush these people with this fucking sale.
all of a sudden, their games are super cheap, and they're like, "Wait a minute,
I've
what?"
got 3 more hypes, bitches.
Okay, I'm still saying you do it too a lot. 4 hypes is like a cop out.
Hey, man.
I had 3 hypes.
All right, technically
sir.
I had 3 hypes and a sweat, but one of them is really, the sweat's really just a hype that I'm also
Classic Nick. The sweat is just me sweating onto my boner and jerking it.
Oh, God.
Brad, is that what you think's
My
coming?
second
Sweat
hype.
doesn't come out of that.
That's no,
My
it's not.
second hype. I don't get many opportunities to be hyped for music, and I know this is y'all are gonna just roll your eyes in the back of your head, but I'm super. If you follow me on Twitter, you know I'm very, 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 very into Slipknot. They're one of my favorite bands, and their new album was just announced, and I'm very, very, very excited. I very rarely get to be this excited about music because music just doesn't really excite me the same way as games or movies or television does. But I've had this new song on repeat for a week, and I'm my body is ready for this new album. I'm super
Nick gets
fucking
into it.
You need a
super
good video game
fucking excited.
music
He's
crossover.
gonna slip a nut.
I got concert tickets for September, which I hope still happens now given the recent tragic news. But I'm not sure how that's gonna unfold. But I'm very, very fucking excited for that album.
We need to get Nick on a good OC remix album.
Oh, Syria.
The OC? What?
Overclock remix.
I know.
OC remix.
Where do you think we got the intro to our podcast?
It's not 1998.
I know what
Chris
OC
Davis.
remix is. I'm not sure why you need to get me into an OC remix soundtrack. I don't listen to. I have a whole.
There's some fucking incredible ones out there.
Oh, I know that. I'm very, very.
Where do you
aware.
think half of our Game of the Year music has been coming from?
I know exactly where you get our Game of the Year music. I still have 2 more hypes, or one's a sweat. But my third hype is for Observation, which came out today.
I forgot about that
It's
game.
getting really great reviews. It's
It
that,
is?
yeah. I mean, 8s and 9s.
That's also $10 off on the Epic Games Store.
I know, and the only reason I don't want to, I'm gonna probably get it on PS4 because I don't want to download the fucking Epic Games launcher, or maybe I should.
Just fucking do it. They're giving away free games.
Fuck it, I
James.
might do that. The
Like
point
2
is,
a month.
I'm getting hyped. It's that game that we kind of saw brief glimpses of, where you play as the AI on the space station. And
You're Hal.
Yeah. Which looks really great, and it's getting really good reviews. It's actually, people are saying it's 5 to 7 hours, so it's a lot longer.
That's longer
of an
than I thought it
experience
was
than
gonna
Whoa,
be.
Metro gave it a 3 out of 10.
Ooh.
Metro is pretty harsh, but jeez.
All the reviews I've seen so far have been mostly 8s and a couple
they're pretty
9s.
Good. They're pretty good.
But I'm going to be streaming that probably on Friday night. It's my plan. Maybe around 9 p.m. and just kind of go until I can't keep my eyes open any longer. So if you want to check out Observation, tune in on Friday night. I'll be playing it. And my sweat/hype is for how do you say this? Man of Medan? It feels so weird when I say that.
Yeah. something like that.
The new Supermassive game. The first chapter in the what do they call it? The anthology series that they're doing, the horror games.
Until Dawn.
The Until Dawn horror series,
Comes out
essentially.
August?
August 30th is the release date. I read, they did a interview with Game Informer where they went into a bunch more detail about the game. It all sounds great. They talk about how it's much deeper and how there's a lot more branching past than Until Dawn, which sounds great. But they're selling it for $30. And they already said they have the plans for the next 4 games already kind of in the works, and they're already well into development on 2 of them. So we're going to start seeing these twice a year for the foreseeable future, which is really exciting because everyone's going to be totally different in terms of setting and location and theme, which is great. I'm just a little worried about length.
Yeah.
However, they are talking about how they're an Until Dawn. One of the things was in Until Dawn there was a total of 40 something death scenes depending on the characters, and the most you could see in one playthrough was 10 or something like that. And they're in this one there's 60 something, and the most you can see is 8 or 9 in one playthrough. So it makes it sound bigger, but the price and the rollout schedule of these makes it seem like it's gonna have to be smaller. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect. If it's a full-blown 10 to 12 hour experience, kind of like Until Dawn, then sounds great.
Yeah.
But I'm worried it's going to be a 2 to 3 hour thing, and that's going to be it. I don't know. We'll see. But either way, I'm super excited for that project because it sounds really cool, and I loved Until Dawn. And I think there's a lot of potential there. So that's it. That is my 4-player minute.
My fuck you for the week goes to how the MCU treats the Hulk.
You didn't like that either, huh?
He's like, no, in all of them, he's like a
A joke?
yeah.
Let's wrap up this show.
Let's wrap up the show, guys.
what's
Thank
this
you
episode?
so very much for listening. Don't forget, we have... Oh, well, actually, this is our last podcast of the month, isn't it?
Yep.
I was going to say all of our podcasts this month are on Tuesdays. Next month, actually, the next podcast we record will be on a Thursday. It'll be in June. So tune in next week on Tuesday for our fun cast night. We'll be doing something, whether it's a board game
And
night
also,
or playing
we only
something.
have one more show before E E3.
Only one more regular show before E3. We've already done our prediction show, so we did that like last week or the week before that. I can't remember which one.
Yeah.
So go back, check that out. But yeah, E3 is gonna be fun. It's gonna be Chris and I going this year, so not the biggest group, but we'll be doing our usual like sit down and watch all the conferences together before we leave. So all the Sunday conferences we'll be doing together, and then Chris and I will try and do some stuff from LA as well. And we'll find a way to get y'all's input on the shows, talk to y'all about it as it's happening, and get y'all's input on the actual podcast we record while we're there. Should be fun. And don't forget to check us out on Discord, discord.gg/4player. You can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. And of course, you can find all of our podcasts on 4playernetwork.com. So I think that's it, guys. Until next time, good night.
Bye.
Night.